Song Shirhuan, the crown prince's legitimate daughter, was prophesied to be a calamity star the moment she was born. Before she was even a month old, she was abducted by villains. For 10 years, she never had enough to eat or warm clothes to wear. Meanwhile, her twin younger sister, Song Xian, was prophesied to be a lucky star. From birth, she became the Eastern Palace's cherished jewel and was doted on endlessly. Later, she was found and brought back by the crown prince residents. She longed for so-called family affection and did everything she could to please these blood relatives. She used what she had learned to advise her father, helping her crown prince father ascend the throne. But in the end, what she received on the day he succeeded the throne was a death decree. Shirhuan, it is not that I want you dead. It is that your existence will affect the fortune of the entire nation. Who told you to be a calamity star? The azure heaven sword said water can restrain you. Men, sink her to the bottom of the lake. The suffocating feeling brought by the lake water washed away her attachment to familial love. Perhaps even heaven felt that she had been wronged. When she opened her eyes again, she had actually been reborn on the day she was recognized and brought back. A palace maid delivered a set of clothes and told her to change before going to the main hall. Today happened to be her and her younger sister Song Xian's 10th birthday. Song Shirhuan looked at that palace maid and coldly told her to get out. Her dark gaze made people shudder. The maids all knew how much the crown prince's family despised this newly recovered daughter, so their attitudes were extremely nasty too. So ungrateful. A pheasant is a pheasant after all. It can never become a phoenix. I don't want to serve her either. After putting down the clothes, they left. Looking at the clothes before her, Song Shirhuan recalled everything from her previous life. In her previous life, she had worn this outfit to the main hall. What greeted her was a slap from the crown princess consort and a voice filled with utter disgust. How could Xian's clothes be something you were allowed to touch? Her crown prince father had also rebuked her in disgust. You could have returned earlier or later, yet you had to choose Xian's birthday banquet to be recognized. Are you trying to steal Xian's fortune and compete for favor? So vicious at such a young age. Men, drag her out. And her twin younger sister, Song Xian, had watched her fall with a smug, gloating gaze. Lonely and helpless, she had knelt and begged their mother. I didn't do it on purpose. I only wanted a home. I never thought of competing with anyone for favor. I'm your daughter too. Mother. The crown princess consort had shaken her off in disgust. Shut up. I only have one daughter, Xian. How laughable. Back then, she had actually believed that with this blood bond between close kin, even the coldest stone would eventually be warmed. It was not until she was trapped in that cold lake that she realized how terribly wrong she had been. So in this life, she would never repeat the same mistakes. She did not touch anything from the crown prince residence and simply went to the main hall like that. Today, the crown prince had specially asked Emperor Yuanyu to summon all officials into the palace to celebrate Song Xian's birthday. At that moment, the main hall was filled with joy. Song Shirhuan's appearance made the entire hall fall silent. Originally, the crown prince and the others had not wanted her to come, but because Emperor Yuanyu wanted to meet this granddaughter, the crown prince endured it unwillingly. Seeing Song Shirhuan still looking as she had when she was found, covered in patched rags, he felt utterly embarrassed. With a dark face, he scolded Song Shirhuan. Why did you not change clothes? How can the dignity of the royal family be humiliated by you? Song Shirhuan answered calmly, neither servile nor arrogant. The clothes were too large. I cannot wear them. The crown princess consort looked agitated and snapped. You ill-mannered thing. You brought shame upon the Eastern Palace the moment you returned. Back then, if I had only given birth to Xian, I would not have suffered a difficult labor and ruined my body. You truly are a calamity star. Following the crown princess consort's words, the crown prince said, Imperial father, it is not that your son is heartless. It is just that this child's fate may clash with the Eastern Palace. She absolutely cannot move into the Eastern Palace. The crown prince's eldest son also stared at Song Shirhuan with an unfriendly gaze and suggested, Imperial grandfather, Song Shirhuan has lived outside for 10 years after all. Whether she has picked up bad habits is still unknown. Why not send her directly to Imperial Punishment Temple? Everyone knew that Imperial Punishment Temple was where royal family members who had committed mistakes were confined. Emperor Yuanyu could not help looking at Song Shirhuan, who had been humiliated yet remained standing expressionlessly. Since you entered the hall until now, you have only said one sentence. Are you not going to speak up for yourself? Song Shirhuan raised her eyes and looked at Emperor Yuanyu. because your granddaughter did not want to enter the Eastern Palace in the first place. A noble person does not seize what others cherish or force others into difficulty. Since the Crown Prince says your granddaughter is a calamity star, your granddaughter naturally does not wish to harm the Eastern Palace's fortune. Emperor Yuanyu had not expected Song Shihuan to say such words. You have studied? Song Shihuan secretly thought, more than studied. In her last life, she could not even remember how many policy essays and articles she had written for the Eastern Palace's people. Yet Emperor Yuanyu had never known that she had learned to read and write while wandering outside. In this life, if she wanted to destroy the Eastern Palace, she first had to cling tightly to her imperial grandfather's powerful support. She knelt and respectfully performed a bow. In reply to imperial grandfather, your granddaughter has studied. When I had no food outside, I would climb onto the wall of a private school and secretly listen to the teacher's lectures. When I became absorbed in listening, I forgot my hunger. As soon as these words came out, Emperor Yuanyu's gaze towards Song Shihuan became much kinder. Emperor Yuanyu was born a peasant and became an emperor who conquered the realm. Back when he had been starving, he had also racked his brains to learn characters and read books. He waved at Song Shihuan. Good child, you have suffered outside these 10 years. Come to Imperial Grandfather. Song Shihuan knelt on the ground with a serious expression. Imperial Grandfather, these years your granddaughter wandered outside and could not serve you by your side. I feel truly guilty. Please forgive your granddaughter for her unfilial conduct. The scales in Emperor Yuanyu's heart tilted towards Song Shihuan. The Crown Prince and Crown Princess consort had insulted this child harshly, yet there was not the slightest hatred in her eyes. She was a pure and kind good child. He personally stepped down and helped Song Shihuan up. Looking at those clear eyes, he felt they resembled his own too much. She was indeed his descendant. His tone softened further. Good child, the royal family has wronged Dawan. What do you want? Imperial Grandfather will grant you one wish. Song Shiyin, standing nearby, thought Song Shihuan would definitely wish to stay in the Eastern Palace and sneered inwardly. A wild girl from the countryside dares to be my elder sister? If she really dares use this chance to cling to the Eastern Palace, there are plenty of ways to torment her. Song Shihuan remembered the person who had come to save her before she died. That person had said, "Poor little thing, in your next life, live another way." Thinking about it, that was right. Since she had been reborn, she should live another way. Under everyone's gaze, Song Shihuan knelt again and kowtowed heavily to Emperor Yuanyu. Her tone was sincere and firm. Your granddaughter neither wishes to enter the Eastern Palace nor Imperial Punishment Temple. So I beg Imperial Grandfather to allow your granddaughter to change fathers. After Emperor Yuanyu introduced several adult princes, Song Shihuan decisively chose the famous dandy prince, Prince Qin Songyu, as her father. Songyu, who was immersed in drinking, froze for a moment when he heard Emperor Yuanyu call his name in a tone of disappointment. Then he raised his wine cup and tried to toast Emperor Yuanyu. Emperor Yuanyu's knife-like glare swept over Songyu, as if it cost nothing. This useless thing had made him lose all face. When introducing everyone earlier, he should have simply skipped this bastard. The Crown Prince could tolerate Song Shihuan changing fathers, but he absolutely could not tolerate Song Shihuan choosing his mortal enemy as her father. He immediately lost some reason and snapped at Song Shihuan. Are you saying you want to acknowledge that useless Prince Qin as your father? Song Shihuan nodded expressionlessly and replied firmly, yes, that is right. The one she chose was Prince Qin Songyu, the legitimate eldest son of Emperor Yuanyu and the first Empress Su. Not long after the first empress gave birth to Songyu, she died blocking a sword for Emperor Yuanyu during a rebellion. To take care of Songyu, Emperor Yuanyu married the first empress's younger sister as his second wife. But not long after the succeeding empress entered the palace, she was found to be pregnant. After that, she gave birth to the crown prince, Songlin. Once the younger lady, Su had her own son, how could she truly cherish Songyu? In her previous life, when Song Lin ascended the throne, he ordered Song Shihuan to be drowned. The palace servants had received orders not to retrieve her body. By coincidence, Songyu overheard the servants discussing it. He entered the water and pulled her up. And the moment Songyu pulled her out, the newly enthroned Song Lin executed him for treason. So she and Songyu had been people in the same boat from the very beginning. After receiving Song Shihuan's certain answer, the crown prince's eyes turned bloodshot. He wished he could draw his sword and cut Song Shihuan down. This calamity star really had come to counter him. Songyu, who had come back to his senses, quickly sorted out the current situation. Then he rose and came to the crown prince's side. "Second brother, I have no children under my knees right now, and it just so happens you do not like this child. Why not give her to me? It is perfect for both sides." Seeing the crown prince about to explode with anger, Song Yu smiled even more brightly. "Besides, as the elder brother, it is only right for me to clean up my younger brother's mess." The crown prince and Song Yu confronted each other, neither yielding. Emperor Yuan Yu was already used to this. He reached out and patted Song Shihwan's shoulder. "Good child, do you truly want to choose Prince Qin?" He was truly afraid that Song Yu would lead the child astray. Hearing Emperor Yuan Yu's words, Song Shihwan raised her eyes again and carefully looked at Song Yu. Everyone said Prince Qin Song Yu was a stubborn dandy prince, but was that really true? In her previous life, because of the throne, Song Yu had been plotted against countless times by the crown prince and the empress. So his image as a dandy might very likely have been deliberately spread by the crown prince's side to deceive the masses. Now, no matter whom she chose, she would share honor and disgrace with that person. Prince Qin Song Yu was the best choice for her. Who cared whether he was truly a dandy? She stepped forward, held Song Yu's hand, and said to Emperor Yuan Yu, "Imperial grandfather, your granddaughter is certain." Seeing this, Emperor Yuan Yu immediately conferred Song Shihwan the title Fuan County Princess, making her the legitimate eldest daughter of the Qin Prince residence. All the civil and military officials bowed to Song Shihwan in unison. The matter was settled. The crown prince was so angry his eyes nearly split. Seeing this, Song Yu felt extremely delighted. He could no longer count how long it had been since he had angered Song Lin's family to this extent. He really owed this little calamity star his thanks. Was it not just adding another pair of chopsticks to his residence? It was not as if his Qin Prince residence could not afford to raise Song Shihwan. Prince Qin and Emperor Yuan Yu arranged for someone to help her change into the clothing a county princess should have. Afterward, in a side hall, she waited for Song Yu, who had been called away by Emperor Yuan Yu, to come and take her back to the residence. The crown prince's eldest son, Song Yinjung, took the opportunity to come and disgust her. "Song Shihwan, do you know Prince Qin's reputation outside? He spends all day doing nothing proper, fighting cocks and crickets. You thought yourself clever, but instead you pushed yourself into an abyss." Song Shihwan's expression was calm. "No need to trouble your highness, the imperial grandson. Compared with Imperial Punishment Temple, I'm already very satisfied." Seeing that Song Shihwan refused discipline, Song Yinjing's face darkened. "Compared with Xian, you are truly far inferior." Song Xian was young, but deeply scheming. She deliberately said in a delicate, weak voice, "Eldest brother, you are comparing me with others again." Song Yinjing immediately changed expression and coaxed her gently. "It is eldest brother's fault. No one can compare with our Xian." The crown princess consort deliberately spoke to provoke Song Shihwan, trying to find even a trace of suppressed pain on her face. "Xian has slept by my side every day since birth. Xian recognized characters at 3 and could recite poems fluently at 5. She is skilled in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. How can a wild girl from the countryside compare?" Song Shihwan's expression did not change as she praised the crown princess consort. "Your Highness the crown princess consort truly teaches your daughter well. However, Your Highness, did you not just say that after I was abducted, you spent every day washing your face with tears and became bedridden from grief? Looking at it now, that does not seem like grief. I fear it was because educating your daughter consumed too much of your energy." The crown princess consort's expression instantly twisted, and the hand pressing on Song Xian suddenly tightened. Song Xian endured the pain. In her heart, she hated Song Shihwan even more. This wild girl from the countryside was truly unbearably annoying. Looking at Song Shihwan's indifferent appearance, the crown princess consort inexplicably panicked. Sharp-tongued, "It seems Prince Qin will have to discipline you properly in the future." Just then, Song Yu's loud, carefree voice rang out. "Who is talking about me again?" He quickly came to Song Shihwan's side with a smiling face, but his words carried authority. "My child is naturally among the most noble people in the world. She will have food when she wants food, clothes when she wants clothes, and backing when she needs backing. She does not need to read anyone's expression. So where does this talk of discipline come from? Second brother, would you not agree?" The crown prince had just received another warning from Emperor Yuan Yu, so he temporarily did not dare insult Song Shihwan again. Today was also not suitable to clash with Song Yu again. He tugged at the crown princess consort. "Today's matter has already displeased Imperial Father. Stop seeking verbal satisfaction. Return to the Eastern Palace." Song Yu looked at the backs of the crown prince's family as they left and felt delighted. He took out the prepared pomelo leaves and patted them over Song Shirwan. Drive away the bad luck. Looking at her new father, a glimmer of light flashed deep in Song Shirwan's eyes. He fights the Eastern Palace over every inch. This father can be taught. In this life, with me here, I will definitely make you the crown prince. Behind the dandy reputation lay a tragic past and a hidden sharpness. Song Shirwan chose the famous dandy prince, Song Yu, as her father. When she was once again squeezed and mocked by the Eastern Palace's people, she immediately received protection. He fought the Eastern Palace over every inch, which suited her taste. This father could be taught. Time flew. It had already been 5 days since Song Shirwan moved into the Qin Prince residence. During these days, she more or less figured out the situation in the residence. Among all the maids and young servants in the residence, no one knew who their true master behind the scenes was. A dignified Prince Qin actually had only one nanny and one old steward by his side, whom he truly knew well. The residence's accounts were even like a sieve, full of holes. On the surface, the accounts showed no problem, but in reality, the deficit was shocking. This father of hers really lived up to the title of dandy. She still did not believe someone who could survive under the schemes of the empress and the crown prince was simple. So, under the pretense of practicing swordsmanship, she tested Song Yu. Though she was thin, she was not weak. Her sword edge was sharp as it attacked Song Yu's neck. In the end, Song Yu subconsciously blocked with a folding fan and actually deflected her sword with ease. Song Yu felt baffled. This daughter of his was surprisingly formidable, but he did not seem to have offended this little fellow, did he? Song Shirwan withdrew her sword and looked deeply at Song Yu. Then she calmly called, "Father, did I hurt you?" Song Yu looked at the tiny person before him, who nevertheless appeared serious and composed. He felt as if a teacher had suddenly come to inspect him. Also, what had happened just now seemed to be a test. Smiling, he replied, "You did not hurt me." Then he turned to seek out the old steward to settle accounts. "This is what you meant when you said my daughter was crying and making a fuss in the courtyard because she wanted to see me? Does your conscience not hurt from tricking me back?" Then he turned to Song Shirwan. "Ahwan, I am preparing to leave the residence now to buy you some tasty food." As he spoke, he tried to walk outside. Song Shirwan said unhurriedly, "Father, wait. Are you going to fight cocks or fight crickets? Or are you going to the tavern?" Song Yu's figure froze. He could not help glaring at the nanny and the old steward. How does Ahwan know these things? You two actually betrayed me. The nanny and steward ignored Song Yu's knife-like glares. They both felt that the little county princess and the prince depended on each other, and she also seemed to have ideas of her own. If she could make the prince settle down, being scolded a little was nothing. Song Yu's face flushed red, but he could not refute it. Song Shirwan wanted to make Song Yu the crown prince, and the first step was to keep him away from those things that made him lose ambition. She deliberately showed weakness and looked at Song Yu with tear-filled eyes. "Father, are fighting crickets more important than Ahwan?" Song Yu panicked when he saw this and hurried over to comfort her. How could that be? Ahwan is 1,000, 10,000 times more important than fighting crickets. He had thought Ahwan wanted to lecture him. Unexpectedly, Ahwan simply wanted to see him. This feeling was quite wonderful and made joy rise in his heart. Song Shirwan continued to add fuel, tears rolling down her small face. "But yesterday, I wanted to see the crickets father raises. Nanny stopped me and said there's a rule in the residence that no one is allowed to touch the crickets." Song Yu's heart clenched painfully at Song Shirwan's pitiful crying appearance. That damned rule had truly been set by him. In a fluster, he wiped Song Shirwan's tears and hardened his heart. "Men, throw away all the crickets." Ahwan, quickly stop crying. Crickets are not worth mentioning to me at all. If not for the fact that she saw he was forcing a smile, she might really have believed him. Song Shirwan pretended not to see and counted on her small fingers. Not just the crickets, there are also the fighting cocks and all the wine in the back courtyard. Seeing this, for words appeared in Song Yu's mind, a demand from the king of hell. When Song Shirwan saw that Song Yu did not handle it decisively this time, she exerted herself and cried even harder. "I know that in the past few days, Father did not come see me because of these things." She suddenly threw herself into Song Yu's arms and cried so heartbrokenly that it was soul-wrenching. "His Highness the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess Consort do not like me. Does Father not like me either? I know. Ahwan is just a child no one likes." Song Yu froze. That was right. Ah had never had the love of parents since childhood and had suffered outside for 10 years. Now that she had arrived at the Qin Prince residence, he had not come to see her for several days in a row, only handing her over to the nanny to care for. That truly should not have happened. He also made up his mind to be a good father and never let Ah cry again. He held Song Shirhuan in his arms with his large hands and ordered, "Slaughter all those roosters of mine. Stew them in his soup to nourish the county princess. And all that wine is too much of an eyesore in the residence. Throw it out at once." The nanny and steward at the side were already stunned. The little county princess had only cried once, yet the prince himself threw away all these things. The little county princess was terrifying indeed. Song Yu was seen bending over, trying every possible way to coax the small person before him. Do not cry, do not cry. I have handled everything according to what Ah said. If you keep crying, your eyes will swell." Song Shirhuan cried a little longer before saying pitifully that she was sleepy. When Song Yu heard that, he hurriedly said, "Sleepy? Then father will carry you back to sleep." The next second, the little person had already collapsed weakly in his arms, sleeping sweetly. Song Yu felt Song Shirhuan's trust and dependence on him. Ripples also stirred in his heart. Afterward, he sat by the bed and looked at the sleeping Song Shirhuan, somewhat worried. "Nanny, I see Awan's eyes are still red. I wonder if they will hurt when she wakes up." Raising a daughter really does require careful attention. Seeing the change in her master, the nanny was delighted inside. On the surface, she calmly promised, "Your Highness, do not worry. This old servant has already prepared tea packets for the little county princess to apply warm compresses." Song Yu sighed. "My Ahuan is good in every way. She's just too clingy to me. She cried so much after only not seeing me for 4 days. What should be done in the future? I cannot take Ahuan everywhere I go, can I? The places I often go, such as Spring Welcome House and Flowing Cloud Pavilion, are full of all sorts of people. People from every trade gather there, drinking, gambling, and speaking filthy words all the time. No, Ahuan cannot go to those lousy places. I only have this one daughter. She absolutely cannot be led astray by places like that." The nanny watched her master's expression shift from worried to serious, and then he hurried out of the room. As soon as Song Yu left, Song Shirhuan opened both eyes. Her gaze was clear and bright, without the slightest sleepiness. The nanny wished she could worship Song Shirhuan like an ancestor. The county princess is truly capable. The emperor has scolded the prince countless times over these toys, but it was of no use at all. May the late empress bless us. Our prince is finally going to walk the proper path. The corners of Song Shirhuan's mouth curved slightly. She recalled the sword practice just now. Father had seemed casual with just a folding fan, but in reality, he had precisely blocked all her attacks. In other words, the father she chose might not be as uselessly dissolute as rumors claimed. With such hidden martial skill, father probably had many unknown abilities concealed as well. Today's events would likely be sent through the various informants to every side very soon. She wondered whether the Eastern Palace and the Empress would still be able to sit still after receiving the news. Prince Qin Song, you spent every day either fighting crickets, fighting cocks, or drinking. His father, Emperor Yuan Yu, had scolded him countless times, but it had never worked. Now that he had adopted Song Shirhuan as his daughter's single crying fit made Song Yu throw away those bad habits himself and walk the proper path. Once the news reached each family, the Empress and the Eastern Palace's people would likely be unable to sit still. At that moment, Song Shirhuan was eating the fighting cock Song Yu had raised for many years. Song Yu looked at the steaming stewed chicken with heartbroken sorrow, secretly deciding to eat a few extra bites to soothe the pain in his heart. Then he saw the old steward come in with a worried face. "Your Highness, Eunuch Chun from Her Majesty the Empress's side has come. He says he invites you and the county princess to enter the palace immediately for a meal." Song Shirhuan had expected those people would be unable to sit still after hearing the news, but she had not expected them to move so quickly. Song Yu snorted. "Even if the Heavenly King himself came today, I must still eat these few." Then he picked up a piece of chicken and placed it in Song Shirhuan's bowl. Ayuan, eat chicken. Father and daughter both ate, serving food to each other and throwing the old steward's words beyond the clouds. Only after the eunuch from the Empress's side left did Song Shirhuan put down her chopsticks and ask softly, "Father, what kind of person is Imperial Grandmother? Is she as kind and amiable as Imperial Grandfather?" Song Yu thought of how every time he saw his old father, he was scolded with a fierce face. "Your Imperial Grandfather has nothing to do with being kind and amiable. I do not know how many times he has beaten me. As for your imperial grandmother." Speaking of his mother, Song Shihwan clearly sensed the pain and hatred lingering around Song Yu, but quickly disappeared. Song Yu still looked smiling. "You are her biological granddaughter. She should like you." Meanwhile, in the Palace of Scenic Benevolence, Emperor Yuanyu learned that Song Yu had ignored Empress Su's invitation and was furious. "Do I have to beg him to enter the palace for a meal? He made me wait so long." The Empress, the younger Lady Su, looked virtuous and gentle as she comforted him. "Your Majesty, calm your anger. You must have had some important matter that delayed him." After hearing this, Emperor Yuanyo's anger rose from 5 points to 10. That bastard, what important matter could he have? He fools around outside all day. Sooner or later, he will completely ruin the royal family's reputation. It just so happened that Song Yu and his daughter had arrived at the door. Emperor Yuanyu flung a teacup. It smashed before Song Yu and Song Shihwan. Song Shihwan secretly thought that the Empress truly had good methods. She and father had not even entered the palace, yet charges had already been placed on them. She pinched her own thigh to force tears. Song Yu immediately reached out and protected Song Shihwan behind him. "Ahwan, do not be afraid." He also glared angrily at Emperor Yuanyu. "Imperial father, if you are angry, direct it at me. What kind of man frightens a child?" Emperor Yuanyo's expression became somewhat unnatural. "Insolent. I waited so long for you to eat, and you are still acting self-righteous." Song Yu stiffened his neck and was about to argue with Emperor Yuanyu. Song Shihwan knelt on the ground with tearful eyes. "It is not like that, Imperial Grandfather. It is Ahwan's fault." Father was coaxing Ahwan, so he stewed the big rooster he often took out of the residence. Just now, father was accompanying Ahwan to eat the big rooster. And the crickets and wine, Ahwan did not like them, so father moved them out of the residence too. Emperor Yuanyu was stunned when he heard this. He looked at Song Yu in disbelief. Was he old and hard of hearing? Song Yu's favorite fighting cocks had just been stewed? Those damned roosters had once angered him so badly that he did not sleep well for 3 days. After returning to his senses, his face instantly changed from thunderstorm to clear skies. "Ahwan, have those roosters been finished?" Song Shihwan recalled. No, Ahwan and father really could not eat anymore. But Ahwan brought a bowl for Imperial Grandfather taste. Emperor Yuanyu happily took it and drank, no longer pursuing the matter of Song Yu and Song Shihwan arriving late. Seeing this, hatred flashed in the Empress's eyes. She had not expected the Emperor to truly like this child so much. This favoritism should originally have belonged to the Eastern Palace. Now it had actually fallen on Song Yu and his daughter. That would not do. So she smiled and stepped forward. "Your Majesty, this concubine sees that now that Yuer has Ahwan, he does look a bit like a father." Emperor Yuanyu heard this and said nothing, but anyone could see that he was in a very good mood. Yet the Empress suddenly changed the topic. "If Yuer had not made a mistake back then and had married and had children early, that child would probably be about Ahwan's age." The atmosphere in the hall suddenly fell silent. Emperor Yuanyu and Song Yu's faces darkened almost at the same time. Song Yu's face carried full sarcasm. "Was that not thanks to you? How can some people feel not even half a bit guilty and still dare bring up those filthy matters?" Song Shihwan tugged Song Yu's sleeve and shook her head, signaling him not to continue. The Empress was clearly deliberately provoking an argument between father and son to destroy their harmonious feelings. Sure enough, Emperor Yuanyu became enraged because of Song Yu's words. "Bastard, you still dare talk back to your mother?" Song Yu's anger also rose. "Was I wrong?" Back then, it was clearly she who deliberately plotted, before Song Yu could finish. Emperor Yuanyo's loud slap struck Song Yu's face. "Bastard, our great Qi has always governed the realm through filial piety. I never expected I would raise such a rebellious, unfilial thing as you." The Empress was delighted inside, but on the surface, she looked exactly like a loving mother. "Your Majesty, do not hit Yuer. Is all this concubine's fault for saying the wrong thing? Is this concubine's fault?" She deliberately came to Song Yu's side to disgust him. "Yuer, do not quarrel with your father." When the Empress tried to reach out and pull him, Song Yu decisively withdrew his hand and stepped back. "Do not touch me." As a result, the Empress cried out and fell to the ground. Song Yu was stunned. Seeing this, Emperor Yuanyu only thought Song Yu was incorrigibly unruly and became furious. "Rebellion. You actually dared push your mother. Men, drag him down. Beat him heavily." Song Yu knew very well that he had not touched the Empress at all. That person was truly good at acting. His father was also truly blind and muddle-headed. so he laughed mockingly. You are right. I, Song Yu, am a rebellious, unfilial thing. Afterward, Song Yu was pressed onto a bench. Two eunuchs held long, thick planks and struck Song Yu again and again. Song Yu endured it forcefully without making a sound. Song Shihuan stood to the side, her eyes filled with the constantly swinging wooden planks. At this time, the Eastern Palace's people all came to watch the joke. Song Yinjing thought she had been frightened stupid. I told you long ago. You would regret choosing Prince Qin that day. Song Xian's face also carried some malice. Song Shihuan, the father you personally chose, is being beaten now. But my father is accompanying imperial grandfather and imperial grandmother in conversation and laughter. This is the difference between you and me. Song Shihuan murmured softly. Difference. She could tell. These planks were indeed different from ordinary planks. The Empress had tampered with them again. After Song Shihuan discovered that Emperor Yuanyu was about to enter the room to visit father and daughter after they were injured, she deliberately guided Song Yu into speaking of his grievances over the years and exposing the Empress's hypocritical mask. Emperor Yuanyu began to reflect and started confirming whether the Empress's love for Song Yu was genuine or false. He ordered someone to summon the Crown Prince and threw several memorials accusing the Crown Prince at him. Open them and look at the good deeds you have done. As the Crown Prince, you invited important court officials to gather at the Crown Prince residence without any avoidance. Are you trying to rebel? I've already received more than a dozen memorials impeaching you. The Crown Prince was already guilty, and after being scolded harshly by Emperor Yuanyu, he explained with a pale face. The reason your son hosted guests that day was because Xiyin said the peonies had bloomed beautifully. She wanted to invite everyone to admire them. Your son absolutely has no intention of forming factions for personal gain. Emperor Yuanyu laughed coldly. Because of a child's single remark, you went to great trouble to invite numerous court officials to the Crown Prince residence to admire flowers. What do you take me for? The Crown Prince did not know how to explain. He had indeed used Song Shiyin's playful remark as an excuse to draw closer to those court officials. But usually, Imperial Father turned a blind eye to such things. Why did he suddenly attack him today? Before the Crown Prince could figure it out, Emperor Yuanyu ordered, drag him down. Beat him hard. He was actually also very curious how the Empress would react when the Crown Prince was punished. The Crown Prince begged for mercy repeatedly, insisting that he had no intention of forming factions for personal gain. Just then, the Empress, who had received the news, hurried over. She stopped the eunuchs who were about to carry out the punishment and hugged the confused Crown Prince. Your Majesty, calm your anger. The Crown Prince is the heir of the nation. If his body is harmed, I fear will shake the foundation of the state, Your Majesty. This concubine guarantees with her life that Linner would never do anything like forming factions for personal gain. In her panic, the Empress did not notice Emperor Yuanyu's gaze turning dark. Emperor Yuanyu looked at the Empress protecting the Crown Prince and fell into thought. When Song Yu was being beaten, the Empress still had the leisure to smile and talk to him. But when the Crown Prince was punished, she did not hesitate to swear on her life to stop the punishment from falling. He had never realized before that the Empress was this biased. He also believed Song Yu's words even more. Indifferently, he gave the order, along with his dissatisfaction that the Eastern Palace had despised Song Shihuan. After 30 strikes today, this matter will be over. If there's a next time, I will punish you severely. Before he finished speaking, Emperor Yuanyu ignored the waves of pleas behind him and walked out of the hall. He took out Song Yu's mother's jade pendant from his chest and murmured softly, Funner, do you think I was wrong? Only today did I discover that she did not treat our son as well as I always thought, no matter how unwilling he was to believe it. Emperor Yuanyu had understood some things. He also had to properly investigate what had happened back then again. In the side hall, Song Yu listened to the Crown Prince howling as he was beaten and was indescribably happy, while secretly despising the Crown Prince. He prepared to go out and watch the Crown Prince's humiliation. Such a rare scene of someone being beaten. How could he not go look? Song Shihuan saw Song Yu's intention and hurriedly called out, Father, wait. Song Yu stopped and turned to look at Song Shihuan. Ahuan, do you want to go watch too? But you cannot move right now. Do not worry. I will tell you every single detail of what happens outside. Song Shihuan did not want to join this cursed excitement. Right now was the time when Emperor Yuanyu was suspicious of the Empress. If Father went over now and showed off, then would their beating not have been suffered for nothing? So Song Shihuan deliberately made a sad and resentful expression. Father, you do not keep your word. Song Yu was immediately confused. What did I say? Song Shihuan squeezed out 2 tears. Before entering the palace, you said you would stay by my side without leaving a single step. But now, you want to abandon me, a severely injured little girl who cannot take care of herself, alone in this empty, dark room. Song Yu's mind stopped turning a little. Did I really say that? Song Shihwan sighed and pitifully wiped her tears. Father, if you want to go, then go. Anyway, Ahwan has been alone since childhood. I'm already used to it. Hearing this, Song Yu was full of heartache. After thinking for a few seconds, he finally gave Song Shihwan a somewhat humble smile with difficulty. Then I will not go out. I will just watch from this window. All right. Song Shihwan achieved her goal and raised a smile again, nodding. Father and daughter counted by the window how many strikes the crown prince received. Song Yu's cheerful face quickly darkened because the crown prince only received 27 strikes. He had received 28. He said resentfully, Imperial father definitely deliberately struck Song Lin one time fewer. He just dislikes me. Imperial father is biased. Emperor Yuanyu, who had just reached the door and wanted to check on the situation, was nearly angered into laughter. Song Yu, you do not know what is good for you. The familiar voice rang out. Song Yu's expression instantly froze. He turned his head in disbelief. Imperial father? Song Shihwan was afraid Song Yu would say something wrong and ruin the rare trace of guilt Emperor Yuanyu felt. She hurriedly pretended to feel unwell and coughed several times. Sure enough, she drew the attention of Emperor Yuanyu and Song Yu. Ahwan, how are your injuries? Song Shihwan obediently performed a bow. Thank you for your concern, Imperial Grandfather. Ahwan is fine. It is just that Ahwan will not be able to get out of bed to accompany Imperial Grandfather for a long, long time. Emperor Yuanyu touched Song Shihwan's head, his tone gentle. Stay in the palace for now, and let the Imperial physicians properly nurse you back to health. In his heart, he was even angrier at the Empress. She had actually acted so heavily. That brat had received so many strikes. He did not know how his body was. He turned and asked Song Yu, what about you? How are your injuries? Song Yu responded coldly, do not worry. I will not die. Seeing Song Yu's appearance, Emperor Yuanyu became angry. I'm asking how long it will take for the injuries on your back to scab over, and how long before you can walk normally. Song Yu became spirited. What? You want to drive me back to the Qin Prince residence so quickly? I'm not used to staying in this Imperial Son's Hall anyway. I can pack my things and leave right now. I will not remain here and offend your eyes. Father and son stared at each other with wide eyes and began their contest. Song Shihwan sighed from his side. My foolish father. He completely failed to see that Imperial Grandfather had punished the Crown Prince to vent anger on his behalf. It seemed that repairing the relationship between these two still had a long road ahead. However, today she did discover one major matter. This father of hers seemed to enjoy extremely deep imperial favor. At this time, in the Eastern Palace, the Crown Princess Consort looked at the Empress in disbelief. Mother Empress, you mean Imperial Father punished the Crown Prince not because of forming factions for personal gain, but to vent anger for Song Yu and Song Shihwan? The Empress nodded. If it were truly forming factions for personal gain, how could such a charge be settled with a beating? Have you still not seen it? The Emperor treats Song Shihwan especially differently. That child has suffered hardships. Back then, the Emperor also came from bitter days. When he sees her, he naturally feels especially sympathetic. So remember, Song Shihwan must be returned under Linner's name. The Crown Princess Consort thought of the scene where Song Shihwan had rushed forward to shield Song Yu from the plank strikes and lacked confidence. Prince Qin treats her extremely well. She may not be willing to return to the Eastern Palace. The Empress frowned. Then go coax her back. Do you still need me to teach you such a thing? What is more, she has only been at the Qin Prince residence for a few days, yet Song Yu has changed like a different person. No matter what, whether Song Shihwan is clever or foolish, she cannot be left in the Qin Prince residence. The Empress in the Eastern Palace discovered that Song Shihwan, whom they had despised and abandoned, was quite favored by the Emperor. Even that dandy prince, Song Yu, was gradually becoming better because of Song Shihwan, and his relationship with the Emperor had also grown closer. So they planned to trick Song Shihwan back to the Eastern Palace and make her devote herself to them. Song Yu still did not know someone wanted to steal his daughter. He was putting soft cushions in place for Song Shihwan. He took out his favorite storybook, The Supreme Emperor's Tales, and recommended it to Song Shihwan. Song Shihwan decisively refused. She picked up the history book at the side. Father, Imperial Grandfather said reading history books helps one understand reason. Song Yu's face was full of disbelief. Storybooks smell better than history books do they not? Song Shirhuan considered how to make father pick up his long-abandoned studies again. Suddenly, inspiration flashed. She had an idea. She deliberately pointed at a place in the history book and asked Song Yu, "There are some parts of the history book I still cannot understand. Father, what does this part mean?" Song Yu froze awkwardly. Since childhood, he had hated going to the study hall. How would he know what it meant? Only when it came time to use knowledge did one regret not reading enough. While Song Yu and Song Shirhuan stared at each other, Song Shiyin's voice rang out. "Elder sister, if there is anything you do not understand, just ask Mother." Mother was a famous talented lady in the capital back then. The sudden arrival of the crown princess consort and her daughter made Song Shirhuan and Song Yu feel baffled. The crown princess consort smiled and carried a gift box to Song Shirhuan. "Ahwan, is your body feeling better? This is 1,000-year-old ginseng your crown prince father specially rewarded you with." Song Shirhuan, who had lived another life, would not soften because of this inexplicable closeness. 1,000-year-old ginseng is too precious. Ahwan dares not accept it. Seeing that Song Shirhuan was reading a history book, the crown princess consort could not help feeling a soft spot in her heart. When she was this age, she also loved reading history books. Though Song Shirhuan did not resemble her or the crown prince, she was still her child after all. There were still similarities. Most importantly, she had imperial father's favor. So she smiled and invited her. History books can be obscure. It is normal not to understand. If you are willing, you can move to the Eastern Palace. I will explain anything you do not understand. Song Yu reacted and understood what this abnormal crown princess consort meant. He glared at the crown princess consort with an unfriendly gaze. She wanted to steal his daughter. Shameless. Song Shirhuan naturally understood the crown princess consort's intention too. However, this crown princess consort could serve as an assist for her father-raising plan, so she decisively refused. "It is just a mere history book. Father can explain it to me too." She looked at Song Yu with a face full of worship. "Father, am I right?" Seeing Song Shirhuan firmly choose him, Song Yu absolutely would not allow the crown princess consort to steal away his adorable daughter. Hearing this, he said confidently, "Of course." He took the history book from Song Shirhuan's hand. "Ahwan, wait a moment. I will first go warm you a cup of milk." Then he ran out to seek outside help. He stormed into Emperor Yuenyo's main hall. "Imperial Father, let me ask you a question. It is extremely urgent." After Emperor Yuanyu heard Song Yu's words, he reached out to feel Song Yu's forehead. "Is your brain broken? Since childhood, you claimed your head hurt whenever you saw books. Now you're holding a history book and asking me questions." Song Yu said anxiously, "Imperial Father, answer the question first. If you wait any longer, my daughter will be stolen away." Emperor Yuanyu immediately shared his hatred of the enemy. "Let me see who dares steal her. Come, I will explain it to you. Remember it well." Then Song Yu returned to the side hall and repeated Emperor Yuenyo's original words to Song Shirhuan. Song Shirhuan nodded repeatedly. "So that is what it means. Father is truly amazing." Song Yu became extremely proud. "Of course, I know astronomy above and geography below. Ahwan, you do not need to ask outsiders." Then he glared at the crown princess consort at the side. "Ahwan is my daughter. If there is any problem, I will naturally help her solve it. There is no need to trouble the crown princess consort." He even stuffed the ginseng she had brought back into the crown princess consort's hands. The smile on the crown princess consort's face suddenly became difficult to maintain. "In that case, Ahwan, your younger sister and I will come again tomorrow." When Song Yu heard this, he realized this woman still had not given up. His tall body blocked Song Shirhuan as he issued an order for the crown princess consort to leave. "The door is over there. Take care. I will not see you out." The crown princess consort and her daughter could only leave dejectedly for now. At this time, Song Yu still did not know that he had just dug an enormous pit for himself. Song Shirhuan slightly curved the corners of her mouth. The father-raising plan officially began. Half an hour later, Song Shirhuan once again pointed to another place in the history book. "Father, what does this part mean?" The tea in Song Yu's mouth sprayed out. Once again, using the excuse that the milk had cooled and he had to go get her a hot cup, he rushed anxiously to seek help from Emperor Yuanyu. His son rarely asked such proper and meaningful questions. Emperor Yuanyu also explained with great interest. Song Yu then repeated Emperor Yuanyo's original words to Song Shirhuan. Song Shirhuan continued using the same trick from time to time. Song Yu rushed anxiously to seek help from Emperor Yuanyu again. After several rounds, Song Yu was exhausted and felt this was not a long-term solution. Meanwhile, Song Shirhuan had drunk 4 bowls of milk, and her stomach was so bloated that she really could not drink anymore. Song Yu made up his mind. "Ahwan, drink 1 last bowl. I will go and return quickly." When Emperor Yuanyu saw that Song Yu had once again appeared before him in less than the time it takes an incense stick to burn, his expression had already changed from shock to numbness. "What do you not understand this time?" But Song Yu said something astonishing. "This time, find me a teacher well-versed in history books. Before dawn, he must explain the contents of these pages clearly to me." Emperor Yuanyu was secretly delighted. Could this bastard really have changed his nature because of Ahuan? Then he had to go bow before the ancestral tablets. The Eastern Palace's attempt to seize Song Shihuan back had provoked the dandy Prince Song Yu. In order to cut off those people who refused to give up, Song Yu, who had always hated studying, took the initiative to ask Emperor Yuanyu to find a famous teacher to instruct him. "Lord Shun, time is tight. Before dawn, I must understand the contents of these pages. Based on Ahuan's reading speed, she should reach these pages tomorrow. At that time, no matter what Ahuan asks, I will be able to explain it to her. She will definitely think I am learned and knowledgeable. I just like seeing my daughter look at me with admiration." Grand Tutor Shin Mingwen was already prepared to be driven away at any moment. But unexpectedly, Song Yu listened extremely attentively from beginning to end this time. Whenever there was something he did not understand, he even took the initiative to ask questions. Emperor Yuanyu had thought Song Yu would be like before, studying for a while and then giving up halfway. Unexpectedly, he actually got to see such a hardworking son. Could this stubborn brat really have changed because of Ahuan? If so, that would be wonderful. Early the next morning, Song Shihuan was awakened by Song Yu, whose eyes were ringed with dark circles. She was startled at once. "Father, you didn't stay up all night reading storybooks, did you?" To maintain his image as a man of great talent, Song Yu admitted it. "I newly obtained 2 interesting books. Once I started reading, I became engrossed." "Oh, right, Ahuan, you should read now." He waited expectantly for Song Shihuan to ask him questions. Hurry and read. Do not let this prince's bitter night of staying up go to waste. Song Shihuan was extremely clever. Seeing Song Yu urge her so insistently to read history books, she understood. So father had studied hard all night. She found it funny, but was also deeply moved. "Father, Ahuan does not understand this part." Song Yu secretly cheered. She finally asked, "Oh, this part. This prince happens to know a little about it." And so, for the following period, every part Song Shihuan picked out as something she did not understand, Song Yu explained with extreme fluency. Listening to Song Shihuan praise him, "Father is amazing, learned and knowledgeable, brimming with talent. Ahuan must learn from father." Song Yu's whole person became lightheaded. So this was what it felt like to be full of learning. He smiled and answered, "Of course, father is naturally amazing." Just then, the crown princess consort entered with Song Shiyan. Today, they had come empty-handed. Their attitude was also colder than yesterday. The crown prince of the Eastern Palace was, after all, a man everyone knew to be brimming with talent. "Elder sister, your experience is still too shallow." The moment Song Yu saw who had come, his face instantly fell. They were here to steal his daughter again. Did they think Song Yu was dead? He flashed between them. "Ahuan, this prince will go drive away these irrelevant people. Just keep reading." "Your Highness the Crown Princess Consort, do you have some other matter today?" The Crown Princess Consort looked at Song Shihuan with a stiff smile. "Ahuan, mother has come to ask you, if you were given another chance to choose, would you return to the Eastern Palace with mother?" In truth, she was unwilling, but Empress Su had instructed her that she must bring Song Shihuan back to the Eastern Palace. She believed she had already made the greatest compromise. "If you are willing to return to the Eastern Palace, I guarantee that your food, clothing, and daily necessities will be the same as Shiyan's." When Song Shiyan heard this, she unhappily called out, "Mother," and glared fiercely at Song Shihuan. How could this wild girl deserve the same treatment as her? When Song Yu heard the Crown Princess Consort's words, his eyes flushed with rage. "Crown Princess Consort, back then you wanted to send Ahuan to the Imperial Punishment Temple. Now you want to take her back to the Eastern Palace. What do you take Ahuan for? Some stray cat or dog you can summon and dismiss at will?" The Crown Princess Consort paid no mind to Song Yu's words. She wanted Song Shihuan to return to the Eastern Palace only to win Emperor Yuenyo's favor, and she felt no guilt at all. "Prince Qin, Ahuan was born from my 10 months of pregnancy. The bond between mother and daughter is thicker than water." This one sentence from the Crown Princess Consort left Song Yu speechless. He could not help looking towards Song Shihuan. He could ignore many things the Crown Princess Consort said, but this one point alone he had no way to refute. "Ahuan, do you want to return to the Eastern Palace?" Song Shirhuan sensed Song Yu's unease and lack of confidence. She reached out and held Song Yu's hand. Father, I am not willing to go to the Eastern Palace. I, Song Shirhuan, am the legitimate eldest daughter of the Qin Prince residence. Prince Qin is my father. Her words instantly made Song Yu's spirits rise again. The crown princess consort's expression turned ugly, and she shouted, Song Shirhuan, have you thought this through? Song Shirhuan looked calmly at the person before her. Your Highness the crown princess consort, why do you suddenly want me to return to the Eastern Palace so much? Could it be that I now have something good on me, making the Eastern Palace want to acknowledge me, this calamity star again? After her thoughts were exposed, the crown princess consort became furious. Stubborn and unteachable. Follow this useless father of yours, and do not regret it later. She then hurriedly left Zichen Hall. Song Yu's grin nearly reached behind his ears. Beaming with joy, he poured tea and water for Song Shirhuan. Ahuan, come drink some tea. After Song Shirhuan obediently finished the water, she dropped a thunderbolt on Song Yu. Ahuan's father is better than Song Xian's father, right? Song Yu's heart trembled wildly. What should he do? How should he answer this? Faced with the temptation offered by the Eastern Palace, Song Shirhuan once again firmly chose Song Yu. Just as Song Yu was feeling proud and happy, Song Shirhuan's plan to raise her father took another step forward. Father, Ahuan's father is better than Song Xian's father, right? Whatever Song Xian's father can do, my father can do too. Whatever Song Xian's father cannot do, my father can still do. Father, isn't that right? Song Yu swallowed with difficulty. Ahuan, let's not compare ourselves with Song Xian. In this prince's eyes, she cannot compare to even half your finger. Seeing that Song Yu's determination was still lacking a bit of fire, Song Shirhuan deliberately looked gloomy. But Song Xian insists on comparing with me. That day, when father was beaten with the plank, Song Xian told me that this was the difference between her and me. Song Yu had just begun to feel heartache and was about to comfort her when he saw Song Shirhuan brighten again. But soon after, her father was beaten with the plank too. So my father is still better. Song Yu, who had spent years doing nothing but eating, drinking, and playing instead of going to the study hall, looked at his daughter, who was filled with confidence in him. He opened his mouth several times, but could not say that he was inferior to the crown prince. Lacking confidence, he replied, This prince is naturally better than the crown prince. He cannot beat this prince at cricket fighting, and his taste in music is no good either. Song Shirhuan smiled until her eyes curved. Exactly. Then she continued paving the trap. My father has also read the 4 books and 5 classics thoroughly, and is profoundly learned. Isn't that right? His dear daughter's admiring gaze made Song Yu feel even guilty. But asking him to admit that Crown Prince Song Lin was more capable was something he truly could not do. Blushing, he gave a sound of agreement. Song Shirhuan immediately took out the history book she had read halfway. There are parts one do not understand. Can father continue explaining them to me? Forced into a corner, Song Yu could only answer, yes. It is getting late today. Let us continue tomorrow. Then he pulled the history book away and dashed off to find Emperor Yuanyu for emergency help. When Song Yu appeared before Emperor Yuanyu in a huff, Emperor Yuanyu helplessly glared at him. What is it now? We are annoyed the moment we see you. At that one look, Song Yu immediately bristled. Imperial father, can you keep the people of the Eastern Palace in check? Stop letting them keep circling around Ahuan. Emperor Yuanyu understood. The crown princess consort is Ahuan's mother. After all, are we supposed to stop a mother from seeing her daughter? Besides, did Ahuan not choose you again? Song Yu was just about to show off triumphantly when he suddenly realized his imperial father had not been present. How'd he know? Blushing, he accused, Emperor Yuanyu, you eavesdropped on us. I never thought you were this kind of person. Emperor Yuanyu retorted, what about us? We also heard you boast that you are better than the crown prince. It was rare to see this scoundrel suffer a setback before him, and Emperor Yuanyu felt refreshed in body and mind. He also helped Song Shirhuan along. You fooled her today, but if one day Ahuan asks you to compete with the crown prince, what will you do then? Song Yu arrogantly shot back, then we compete. Even if Ahuan wants the moon in the sky, I will go pluck it down for her. Some people do not even have a daughter in this life, so naturally they do not understand this feeling. Emperor Yuanyu's sore spot was poked and his face darkened, but this scoundrel's son was now much closer to him than before. His mood instantly improved again. We truly did not expect that you and Ahuan would really have a father-daughter bond. Heartache appeared in Song Yu's eyes. Ahuan had no mother to protect her from childhood, and her biological father did not like her either. Most importantly, when I first met Ahuan, the scene was exactly the same as me back then. What exactly did I do wrong to make you loathe me so much? We are bound by the same fate, are we not? Emperor Yuanyu looked at his usually carefree son, becoming sorrowful. Regarding what happened back then, he wanted to say something, but Songyu no longer gave him the chance. Forget it. You need not trouble yourself over my matters with Ahuan. He left the hall directly. For the next half-month, Songyu listened to Grand Tutor Shun's lessons every night, then came during the day to explain them to Song Shirhuan. And the way Song Shirhuan looked at Songyu grew increasingly admiring. Father was extremely talented when it came to studying. He could remember every bit of what the Grand Tutor had taught the night before without the slightest error. It seemed she really could hope for her father to become a dragon. In just half a month, the stubborn, idle air around Songyu had completely disappeared. Ahuan, do you understand this part? Song Shirhuan smiled and nodded. Father explained it especially clearly. I understood as soon as I heard it. Songyu smiled and rubbed Song Shirhuan's head. Ahuan is so clever. The rest of his words were interrupted by the sudden arrival of the chief eunuch. Your Highness, His Majesty asks you to go to the main hall. Song Yu's smile instantly disappeared and his brows furrowed. Whenever Imperial Father summoned him on his own initiative, it was never anything good. After failing to win her over, they spread rumors to ruin Song Shirhuan. Emperor Yuanyu repeated the rumors to Song Shirhuan, then asked how she would explain them. Song Shirhuan did not immediately answer Emperor Yuanyu. Instead, she looked towards Songyu and showed him a big smile. So Father was speaking up for Ahuan just now? I heard Father's voice from outside. It almost lifted the roof. Much of the strength in Song Yu's body eased. He touched Song Shirhuan's head. It was something that never happened to begin with. Hurry back to bed and rest your injuries. Father will handle things here. Song Shirhuan smiled. So that is how it is. As expected, Father treats me best. Seeing Songyu begin to regain his reason, Empress Su felt extremely displeased. Songyu's temper had always been explosive, igniting at the slightest spark. They had once used this to make Songyu suffer many losses. Yet now, in front of Song Shirhuan, he was soothed so easily. Sure enough, this Song Shirhuan was the great obstacle to their removing Songyu. Emperor Yuanyu once again witnessed Song Shirhuan's influence over this scoundrel son of his. Delighted, he said, Ahuan, are you done speaking with your father? Hurry and answer your imperial grandfather's question. Song Shirhuan answered clearly and logically. Imperial grandfather, your granddaughter does not understand something. I have been slandered by villains. Why are the villains not made to produce evidence, while I am asked to prove my innocence? What Father said is right. Those who spread the rumors should first be arrested and interrogated. If they can produce evidence, your granddaughter will accept punishment. If they cannot produce evidence, then the ones who should be punished are them. Emperor Yuanyu could not stop nodding in agreement with Song Shirhuan's words. Seeing this, Madame Chong hurriedly brought out their backup plan and suggested, we could also find people outside the palace who are familiar with the county princess or the teacher who taught her. As long as they can testify, it will prove the county princess's innocence. Song Shirhuan lowered her eyes slightly, but I have no one I am familiar with. As for a teacher, I only secretly listen to his lessons. He does not even know what I look like. Madame Chang's expression cracked. The Chong family had already bribed witnesses, intending to deliberately provoke Song Yu and bring in witnesses to ruin Song Shirhuan's reputation. But Song Shirhuan first stated that she had not a single acquaintance. What are they to do now? Madame Chong put on an act again, adding a bit of kindly gentleness. Ahuan, you must not lie. Could it be that all these years you live alone? Song Shirhuan's voice fell low. Granny raised me until I was 7, then passed away. Madame Chong was delighted and immediately followed up. Then Granny's children or her neighbors and townsfolk. As long as we find them, they can prove the county princess's innocence. Songyu could not bear seeing his daughter so downcast. Ahuan had suffered outside since childhood, and these people insisted on poking at her pain. His fiery temper exploded directly at Madame Chong. Madame Chong, have you asked enough? Song Shirhuan quickly interrupted her father's anger. She raised her head and faced Madame Chong directly. Madame Chong, why are you so insistent on making this county princess prove her innocence? Madame Chong secretly hated her. How could this wild girl be so good at talking? She absolutely could not let His Majesty suspect her. Just as she was about to explain, Song Shirhuan's cold voice sounded again. You seem to be considering me at every turn, but in truth you have been forcing me to prove myself. If those so-called acquaintances who appear from who knows where also slander me, then would I not be unable to wash myself clean, even by jumping into the Yellow River? Do you truly want to help me or harm me? Madame Chang's face turned pale as she defended herself. County Princess, this official's wife absolutely has no intention of harming you. Empress Su also helped explain, Huan, you may not know, but Madame Chang is a famous kind-hearted person in the capital. You have likely misunderstood her. Song Shihuan nodded slightly and looked at Emperor Yuanyu. Imperial grandfather, it was your granddaughter who spoke improperly. Since Madame Chang is a kind-hearted person, why not have Madame Chang investigate the source of these rumors? Arrest them, ask why they slandered your granddaughter, and return your granddaughter's innocence. Because Madame Chang often held kanji relief and clothing donations. Emperor Yuanyu did not suspect her title as a kind-hearted person. Hearing this, he also felt it feasible. Madame Chang, are you willing? Madame Chang expressed willingness outwardly, but her heart sank to the bottom. Those rumors had all been arranged by the Chang family. Was this not asking her to lift a rock only to drop it on her own foot? Song Shihuan knew the other side would surely find scapegoats, so she suggested to Emperor Yuanyu again, Imperial grandfather, your granddaughter cannot bear to make Madame Chang too tired. Could you send people to help Madame Chang? Madame Chang could no longer stay steady. The way she looked at Song Shihuan was somewhat shocked. Did she know of their scheme? Was she deliberately taking revenge on them? No, impossible. She was so young. She could not possibly be so intelligent. Emperor Yuanyu agreed at once and immediately ordered people to assist Madame Chang in searching. Our granddaughter is not someone just anyone can slander out of thin air. Seeing that the matter had been decided, Empress Su could only switch to another method. At the very least, she could not let Song Shihuan continue hovering around the emperor. Your Majesty, this concubine feels it would be better to let Huan return to the prince's residence first. There are many people and loose tongues in the palace. If some blind fool mentions these rumors in front of Huan again, it may not be beneficial for her recovery. Song Yu suddenly said no. Imperial physician Mei said Huan should not be jolted about. If something goes wrong, who will compensate this prince with a daughter? Emperor Yuanyu also nodded. Exactly. Who can compensate us with a granddaughter? As for the palace servants, Empress, just keep a closer watch. All of you withdraw. Report once Madame Chang finds the result. Then he came smiling to Song Shihuan's side. Huan, what have you learned these 2 days? Recite some for Imperial grandfather. Seeing how protective and fond Emperor Yuanyu was of Song Shihuan, Empress Su used all her strength to maintain her dignity and composure. After returning to Cunning Palace, she flared up at the crown princess consort. You cannot even coax back a child. What do you expect this palace to say about you? If you had coaxed her back, would today's matter have happened? The crown princess consort was also unhappy inside. Imperial mother, this daughter-in-law did not fail to coax her. It is that child whose heart is set entirely on the Qin prince residence. Song Yinzheng slowly spoke. Imperial grandmother, she sees the Eastern Palace as a savage beast. Even if she returns to the Eastern Palace, she may not truly plan for the Eastern Palace. Since that is the case, we might as well divide friend and foe from the start. Empress Su looked deeply at her eldest imperial grandson. Yinzheng had always had the most ideas. What method do you have for this matter? After the slander and rumors, the Eastern Palace discovered they could no longer win Song Shihuan's heart back at all. Thus, the eldest imperial grandson, Song Yinzheng, proposed completely dividing her as an enemy. If the rumor makers committed suicide by poison out of guilt, then the Chang family would naturally have an explanation for the matter. As for Song Shihuan, that was also simple. I know of a strange drug from the western regions. Whoever takes it will become confused and go mad in public. If this just happens to coincide with a banquet at the prince's residence, and she makes an ugly spectacle of herself before a hall full of nobles, will Imperial grandfather still like this wild girl? Thus began a conspiracy to destroy Song Shihuan. As her biological elder brother, Song Yinzheng was truly vicious enough. Empress Su was rather admiring of this eldest grandson of hers and nodded with a smile. Then do it that way. Remember to clean up the traces. A few days later, Song Shihuan received a report. County Princess, when the guards found those people spreading the rumors, they were already dead. After Madame Chang heard the news, she was frightened and actually developed a high fever. Hearing this, Song Yu comforted Song Shihuan. Do not be afraid. While pursing his lips, clearly Huan is the one who was frightened. Madame Chang, is already so old. What is there for her to be frightened about? Song Shirhuan originally thought that by having Emperor Yuanyu send people to watch, she had forced Madame Chong into a dead end. At the very least, it would let Emperor Yuanyu know that the rumors had been spread by the Chong family. Unexpectedly, the Chong family was so ruthless. What fine move, cutting off the source. They even made Emperor Yuanyu feel that the Chong family truly treated him well, improving his impression of Madame Chong by several degrees. She had underestimated the enemy. Time passed in the blink of an eye. Song Shirhuan and Song Yu had recovered enough in Zichan Hall. Tomorrow, they would return to the prince residence. Emperor Yuanyu bestowed a command tablet, allowing Song Shirhuan to go to the Imperial Household Department and choose whatever she wanted. Song Shirhuan thanked him and accepted it, thinking Imperial Grandfather's reward had come just in time. The Qin Prince residence leaked like a sieve. She had to quickly choose 2 personal maids and take them back with her. Suddenly, she raised her head and looked at Song Yu. Father, Imperial Physician Mei said your injuries have not fully healed. Are you truly going back to the residence so soon? Song Yu cheerfully expressed that after recovering for a month, he had long been fine. Huan, after we return to the residence, how about this prince hires a teacher for you? You can study with the teacher for a few hours every day and then practice martial arts. All right, Song Shirhuan agreed too smoothly. Song Yu had been suffering terribly from studying for more than half a month, but his daughter's reaction made him inexplicably unhappy. He continued at once. Let's make it clear first. When you listen to the teacher's lessons, this prince cannot stay by your side. Song Shirhuan blinked and replied, I know. There was not the slightest fuss or reluctance. Was this still his clingy daughter? Song Yu, unwilling to give up, continued. And when you practice martial arts, this prince also cannot stay by your side. Song Shirhuan still smiled. I know, father. Song Yu fell silent. Something was wrong. Clearly, he wanted Huan to listen to a teacher's lessons, so that he would not need to keep reading those history books. But now that Huan had really agreed, why did he feel uncomfortable no matter how he thought about it? A smile flashed across Song Shirhuan's eyes. Father, can you find Huan a handsome top scholar to be my teacher? Hearing this, Song Yu felt even more uncomfortable. A handsome top scholar? Could a top scholar be better looking than him? No. Could a top scholar explain things more clearly than him? He smiled and muddled through it. Huan, we can discuss this matter later. Let's first go to the Imperial Household Department and choose rewards, all right? What do you want? Song Shirhuan replied that she wanted 2 personal maids. It would be best if one knew martial arts and the other knew how to prescribe medicine. With one who knew martial arts, she could practice martial arts with her. With one who could prescribe medicine, she could help nurse her body back to health. In that prince residence that leaked like a sieve, she would also gain a little sense of security. Very soon, they returned to the Qin Prince residence. Song Shirhuan looked at the 2 maids before her and was extremely satisfied. One of you understands medicine and will be called Ingshun. The other knows martial arts and will be called Baoxia. Is that acceptable? The 2 maids bowed and accepted. Thank you, County Princess, for granting us names. Song Shirhuan then gave them a warning. There are few masters in this residence and few rules, except for one. You 2 must remember, this county princess keeps no two-hearted person by her side. Ingchun and Bao Xiao exchanged a glance, and both understood that this young mistress of theirs was not simple. They immediately knelt and pledged loyalty. From now on, the county princess is this servant's only master, just as the steward took Ingchun and Bao Xiao away to become familiar with the prince residence. Nanny entered the room with a dim expression. Song Shirhuan understood. Father had gone out of the residence again to listen to music. Thanks to Empress Su's methods, Song had been raised from the roots to love play. Changing that was not something that could be done in a day or 2. Nanny nodded with a worried expression. Just as the county princess predicted, His Highness hurried out of the residence a moment ago. Song Shirhuan smiled. Nanny, the books say that one must proceed step by step in doing things and must not be greedy for too much too quickly. Father has already treated me well enough. I cannot blindly demand things of Father. With Father, a proper strategy of retreating in order to advance is naturally necessary. If she wanted a stubborn, idle prince to become a worthy prince praised by everyone, blindly forcing him to study would not work. Thus, Song Shirhuan began to retreat in order to advance, making Song Yu become eager to study on his own. After playing outside for an entire day, Song Yu returned to the prince's residence and, rarely, felt somewhat guilty. He called Nanny over and asked, "Did Huan cry or make a fuss?" Nanny shook her head. "Your Highness, the county princess read some books today and went to sleep early." Song Yu's eyes held anticipation as he continued asking, "Before sleeping, did she mention this prince?" Nanny replied, "She did." Song Yu's heart instantly grew delighted. Sure enough, Huan still cared most about him. Unexpectedly, Nanny's next sentence made him stifled. "The county princess asked this old servant to remind your highness to find her a teacher as soon as possible. It must be a handsome top scholar." Song Yu answered sullenly, "I know," then returned to his room, looking desolate. What was going on? Why was Huan not clinging to him? Did she no longer want father once she had a teacher? The next day, Song Yu deliberately went to Song Shihuan's courtyard to stroll around before leaving the residence. When Song Shihuan saw Song Yu, she immediately ran over and sweetly called, "Father." Song Yu's mood instantly leaped with joy. Then he heard Song Shihuan say, "Has Huan's teacher been found?" Song Yu's joyful heart instantly fell to the bottom. Last time, Huan had cried and refused to let him leave the residence. Today, he would test Huan's reaction again. He smiled and answered, "Not yet. This prince plans to go out for a stroll in a while. I will return to the residence very, very late." Song Shihuan knew what her father meant, but did the opposite and was extremely obedient. "All right, father, remember to take care of the injury on your back." Unwilling to give up, Song Yu reminded her, "Huan, is there nothing else you want to say to father?" Song Shihuan deliberately looked confused. "What else should I say?" Huan does not understand. Song Yu gave a dry laugh. "Nothing." Song Shihuan immediately waved goodbye to him. Seeing her father like this, she knew her plan had worked. She left happily, humming a little tune. Seeing this, Song Yu felt full of gloom. Huan was not clamoring to see him, nor urging him to study hard. What exactly was wrong? Distracted, he left the prince's residence. His playmate, Grand Tutor Shun's son Shun Qingping, saw this and patted Song Yu. "Your Highness, have you lost your soul? We have not even gone to Spring Welcome House yet." Song Yu kicked Shun Qingping unceremoniously. "Get lost. How many times have I told you? Wherever Huan is, you are not allowed to mention such filthy places. Look at you. Your father, Shin Mingwen, is an old minister of public merit. How did he give birth to such a useless thing as you? All day long, you only know how to listen to music and drink." Shun Qingping was dumbfounded. "Your Highness, have you been possessed by something? Are you not the same? And you're criticizing me?" Both of them were idle wastrels who disliked studying. Neither was in a position to criticize the other. Song Yu felt somewhat lacking in confidence. "Forget it. This prince does not want to argue with you." Shun Qingping panicked. "Your Highness, do not leave. Are we still going to Spring Welcome House?" I finally managed to trick the old man and sneak out. Song Yu stopped and turned back to look at Shun Qingping, suddenly coming up with an idea that would kill two birds with one stone. Since Huan wanted a teacher, why not have Shun Qingping become that teacher? He knew this boy's background thoroughly, so he could use him with peace of mind. Shun Qingping grew uneasy under his stare. "Why are you looking at me? Why are you acting so strange today?" The more Song Yu looked, the more feasible he thought it was. "Speaking of your father, this prince really has a matter that you must handle. Take this book back, consult your father until you understand it, then come back and explain it clearly to me. Another day, the two of us will go teach Huan together. Do you understand?" Shun Qingping's voice cracked as he spoke. "I did not have time to read that lousy book." The money pouch Song Yu tossed over interrupted his stubbornness. Those glittering gold ingots were worth half a year of his monthly allowance. He immediately became fawning. "Your Highness has excellent judgment. I love reading most. I will go back now and consult my father." Song Yu nodded in satisfaction. The plan had worked. Meanwhile, in the prince's residence, Song Shihuan was preparing to drink medicine to nurse her body, but Ying Chun stopped her. Seeing her brows tightly furrowed, Song Shihuan's heart stirred. What is wrong? Is there a problem with this medicine? Song Shihuan knew the people of the Eastern Palace would not stay quiet. She just had not expected their method this time to be so vicious. An additional mind-altering drug had been added to the medicine she was to drink. Anyone who took this drug would become confused, with words and actions like those of a madman at a critical moment. After Bao Xiao listened to Ying Chun's analysis, she was furious. "Someone wants to turn the county princess into a mad woman. County princess, should we have His Highness report this matter to the emperor and have His Majesty investigate the truth?" Song Shihuan shook her head, indicating that would not do. Father has the temper of a firecracker. Before the truth is found, he would cause trouble, and he would be the one to suffer instead. Was it not precisely because of that that father was beaten with the plank in Cunning Palace that day. Worry flashed through Ingchuan's eyes. Then, what does the county princess plan to do? With spies filling the residence, if this servant investigates, I fear it will alert the enemy. Song Shirhuan snorted. There are countless spies throughout this residence, but there is no reason to guard against thieves every day. Better to overturn the current chessboard and have me play a new game. We will eliminate all the ungrateful traitors in this residence at once. So we will push the boat along with the current. Ingxia, my head feels so dizzy. Quick, go summon the physician. In her previous life, the Eastern Palace had tormented her and caused her miserable death. In this life, they gave her such despicable poison again. Just thinking that she shared the same blood as them made Song Shirhuan feel dirty. The two maids instantly understood and actively cooperated with their mistress in the act. Someone come. The county princess has fainted. When Song Yu received the news, he hurried back to the prince residence at full speed. His fiery temper exploded at once. How is the county princess? Why did she suddenly faint when she was perfectly fine? Ingchun said she had already taken the county princess's pulse. It was caused by overexertion from too much activity today. There is nothing serious. Your Highness, please go in and take a look. Song Yu hurried into the room. Once the door closed, it cut off all the probing from outside. Awan, are you all right? Song Shirhuan blinked. Did father not say he would return very late? More and more tears gathered in Song Yu's eyes. Father could not stop worrying about you, so I rushed back. Song Shirhuan was startled. Father was crying? What was going on? Then she saw Song Yu hold her hand and apologize. It is father's fault. Ahuan's body clearly has not recovered yet, but father only knew to leave the residence every day to listen to music and did not properly take care of Ahuan. Looking at this father who loved her so much, he cried. Song Shirhuan was somewhat dazed. That day, when she chose Song Yu, she had not expected Song Yu to treat her so well. After rebirth, she had only hatred in her heart, but now she seemed to feel a father's warmth. She, Song Shirhuan, was not a cold-blooded, heartless person like those of the Eastern Palace. If Song Yu treated her sincerely, she would repay him 1,000-fold. She reached out and touched Song Yu's head, smiling as she comforted him. Father, I am fine. Someone poisoned Ahuan's medicine. Ahuan is pretending to be ill according to plan, putting on a show for the spies and the residents. Father, do not worry. Hearing this, and knowing she was truly fine, Song Yu let out a great sigh of relief. He hugged the small Song Shirhuan and patted her. Ahuan, from now on, all plans must be discussed with father in advance. Do not make father worry again. All right. Seeing his dear daughter nod and say yes, Song Yu's suppressed anger rose again. Someone actually dared to poison Ahuan in the residence. Have you found out who it is? This prince will never let them off. Song Shirhuan quickly comforted him. Father, ultimately, this is because spies have been planted in the residence. Why don't we take this opportunity to uproot them all? Ahuan wants father to cooperate in acting out a play. Only by luring the snake from its hole can we strike its vital point. He would naturally cooperate with his daughter's request. And so, in outsiders' eyes, a scene unfolded. Song Yu did not see Song Shirhuan for several days. When he tried to enter and visit her, he was blocked by the maids and not allowed in. After several attempts, Song Yu stopped coming. He went every day to drink and listen to music. She is only a daughter who appeared halfway. This prince does not care. Moreover, the servants in the residence were all spreading rumors that Song Shirhuan had contracted some mad illness and was truly unlucky. It just so happens this prince does not want to bother with her either. These messages were passed through spies into the Eastern Palace. Song Yinzheng came smugly to inform Empress Su and the others. It has succeeded. People in the Qin prince residence say Song Shirhuan has gone mad. Prince Qin is already unwilling to see her. Song Shirhuan will soon become a laughingstock in everyone's eyes. Xian, Big Brother said he would definitely vent your anger for you. Empress Su and the others laughed happily. This time, they could probably thoroughly crush Song Yu and Song Shirhuan. There was such a fine play at the Qin prince residence. If they did not invite the emperor to enjoy it together, would that not be a pity? Song Yu cooperated with Song Shirhuan in acting, wanting to clean out the spies in the Qin prince residence. Thus, the servants of the Qin prince residence, one after another, passed messages to the Eastern Palace. Song Shirhuan had gone mad, and Prince Qin loathed the county princess. Early that morning, Song Shirhuan had Bao Xiao wait at the front gate of the prince residence for distinguished guests to arrive. But the spies in the residence mistakenly thought Bao Xiao was waiting for His Highness to return so she could persuade him to visit. The county princess. They mocked her without restraint. Look at our Miss Bao Xiao. Those who know would say she is waiting for His Highness to return. Those who do not might think she is waiting for a lover. His Highness is unwilling to go to the county princess's courtyard. What use is it for you to wait here? Why not play with us instead? She is only an adopted daughter who has lost favor. No matter how devotedly you serve her, you will gain no benefit. Bao Xiao waved her fists and frightened these people into shutting their mouths. Seeing that Bao Xiao was no fun, everyone went back to eating, drinking, and playing. 15 minutes later, a carriage headed toward the prince residence. Bao Xiao's eyes lit up. The county princess had guessed correctly down to the smallest detail. The emperor had come today to expose Song Shirhuan's madness after being poisoned. Empress Su wore a hypocritically kind and filial expression as she said to Emperor Yuanyu, "Your Majesty, I heard that Yuer has now changed his old ways, and even accompanies a Huan in reading." Hearing this, Emperor Yuanyu felt deeply moved and satisfied. We truly did not expect that with these old bones, we would still see the day Yuer reads. That child, a Huan, deserves great credit. We finally feel that this vast realm has someone to carry it on. Hearing that her words had produced the opposite effect, Empress Su hurriedly pulled in Song Xian to add, "Indeed, a Huan and Xian have both inherited Your Majesty's wise bloodline and are naturally intelligent." But Emperor Yuanyu remained silent and did not respond to this. Clearly, in Emperor Yuanyu's heart, Song Xian still could not be compared to Song Shirhuan. Empress Su was furious inside. Just as she was about to say something, a half-grown child with disheveled hair and a mad appearance suddenly rushed out. Empress Su's eyes lit up. "Imperial grandfather, be careful." Song Yinzheng put on the appearance of protecting the emperor and stood in front of Emperor Yuanyu, displaying his deliberate filial piety. At the same time, his gaze met that of the spy he had planted in the Qin prince residence. Then he nodded, signaling him to come out and push the plot along. Xiaoda immediately came out and knelt before Emperor Yuanyu to plead guilty. This servant failed to watch over the county princess. "May your majesty punish this servant." When Emperor Yuanyu heard this had to do with Song Shirhuan, he anxiously asked, "What happened to the county princess?" Xiaoda slandered the county princess according to the plan. She's gone mad. She often strips off her clothes and goes crazy in the courtyard. Empress Su hurriedly followed up. How did a perfectly good child suddenly go mad? Could she have contracted some illness outside the palace before? Song Yinjing also added fuel to the fire. "Imperial grandfather, a Huan has never understood rules. Now that she has this mad illness, I fear she can only be sent to the Imperial Punishment Temple to cultivate quietly." Song Xian also chimed in. "Song Shirhuan has damaged the royal family's dignity like this. Imperial grandfather should order her confined." Seeing Emperor Yuanyu remain silent, Song Yinjing grew somewhat anxious and spoke again. "Imperial grandfather, a Huan is of royal blood, and your grandson is also extremely reluctant. But the royal family's dignity is heavier than Mount Tai." Listening to these people, who would not stop until Song Shirhuan was sent away, Emperor Yuanyu sighed. Enough, enough. None of them had noticed that the mad girl before them was not a Huan. Song Yinzheng thought Emperor Yuanyu had agreed with the suggestion and happily hurried to order people to drag Song Shirhuan away and send her to the Imperial Punishment Temple. But before he could be happy for even a few seconds, he saw Song Shirhuan, dressed in magnificent clothes and full of energy, walking over. "Royal brother, why do you all want to send me to the Imperial Punishment Temple again?" When Song Yinzheng and Song Xian saw the clear-eyed Song Shirhuan, they secretly hated that she had not gone mad. Empress Su's face also looked ugly. How had Zheng'er handled this? Forget it. The urgent matter was that they could not let the emperor know the Eastern Palace's meddling in the Qin prince residence. Thus, she raised that hypocritically kind smile again and expressed concern for Song Shirhuan. "Good child, it is good that you are fine. Why did all the servants in the residence say you were ill? Come, let Imperial Grandmother take a look." Song Shirhuan stood in place without moving and only smiled as she answered, "Thank you for Imperial Grandmother's concern. Ahuan has always been well." Song Xian walked to Song Shirhuan. "Elder sister, those servants just said you were ill. Could it be that you pretended to be ill to deceive them? Imperial Grandfather hates people who lie most." Song Shirhuan looked sorrowful, pretending to be ill. In younger sister's eyes, am I such a person? Song Shiyin stared tightly at Song Shirhuan, her heart overflowing with vicious poison. If not, then why has Prince Qin avoided seeing elder sister for so long? Of course it is because you lied and lost Prince Qin's trust. Just then, a lazy voice rang out. Song Shiyin, Song, you appeared at exactly the right moment. Why do you understand the affairs of this prince's residence so clearly? Could it be that you planted spies in my residence? They were all blood relatives from the same father and mother. Yet the people of the Eastern Palace were doing everything possible to force Song Shirhuan to her death. Song Shiyin sinisterly pressured Song Shirhuan. If not, then why has Prince Qin avoided seeing elder sister for so long? Of course it is because you lied and lost Prince Qin's trust. The moment she said this, she had completely left herself open. Empress Su and Song Yinjing both secretly thought this was bad. Sure enough, in the next second, Song Yu emerged from some obscure corner. Song Shiyin, why do you understand the affairs of this prince's residence so clearly? Could it be that you planted spies in my residence? You people of the Eastern Palace truly have long-reaching hands. Song Shiyin argued that she had merely mentioned it casually. Song Shirhuan pressed the advantage, her expression filled with melancholy. It seems younger sister truly does not like me. You would rather believe those wicked servants than believe me. Seeing this, Song Shiyin was so angry she spoke without restraint. She shouted at Song Shirhuan, "What are you pretending for?" Elder brother said, "You clearly have a mad illness." Shiyin, stop. Song Yinjing urgently spoke to stop her and quickly covered Song Shiyin's mouth. Then he laughed dryly and explained, "Imperial grandfather, Imperial uncle, Shiyin is somewhat muddle-headed today. Please do not take offense." In an instant, Song Shiyin realized she had caused trouble. She had said something she should not have said and looked uneasily at her Imperial grandfather. Song Yu feigned surprise. What? Song Shiyin has lost her mind. Then he pulled Song Shirhuan over and examined her. "Huan, are you all right?" Song Shiyin's madness did not infect you, did it? Song Shiyin was nearly exploding with anger. Song Shirhuan gave a sweet smile. "Father, I am fine." Then she lowered her eyes and said, "But father, these past few days you were not in the residence, and the food the servants brought me was cold. I always woke up hungry in the middle of the night. Today, they even locked the room door and did not let me go out. I heard them saying that if this matter was accomplished, they would not have to worry about food or drink for the rest of their lives." Emperor Yuan Yu and Song Yu's expressions abruptly changed. With one thought, they understood the key points. Emperor Yuan Yu, who had not spoken all along, walked over and touched Song Shirhuan's head. The county princess may be young, but she is still a master of the Qin prince residence. Then his kindness vanished. He looked majestically at the servant who had reported. "You ungrateful, wicked servants are so bold as to bully the county princess. Drag them away and exile them to the border." When the Eastern Palace's spy servants heard this, they knew people could die from this. Frightened, they grabbed at their master for help. "Your Highness the Imperial grandson, please save this servant. You said that as long as we worked for you, you would protect this servant's whole family with wealth and safety." Song looked at Song Yinjing and clicked his tongue twice. "A whole family's wealth and safety. Your Highness the Imperial grandson is truly generous." Song Yinjing reacted extremely quickly and severed ties. "Utter nonsense. Imperial grandfather, these are only wild accusations from wicked servants before death. This grandson has never done such a thing." Song Yu gave a cold snort. "Whether they are wild accusations can be determined simply by taking these wicked servants to the Office of Careful Punishment and interrogating them under torture." Seeing the spies about to be taken away, Song Shiyin was burning with anxiety. If this went on, Imperial grandfather would know everything, and she would be detested by him. She hurriedly pretended to have a headache, looked unwell, and swayed as if about to fall. Empress Su cooperated excellently and had someone hold her. "Your Majesty, Shiyin's old illness has acted up again. Let us return to the palace first." Emperor Yuan Yu, who had always viewed the whole situation, how could he not see through the Eastern Palace's intentions? The reactions of Song Yinjing and Song Shiyin just now had long since made Emperor Yuan Yu suspicious. He replied coldly, "Since that is so, Empress, take good care of Shiyin. We will stay in the Qin Prince residence for a meal." He publicly denied her face as Empress. Empress Su's expression became somewhat twisted. They were both granddaughters. Why did he favor Song Shirhuan so much and not like Shiyin? Because today's matter was involved. She did not dare say more and returned to the palace in disgrace. As for Song Shihwan, she was now admiring the rewards Emperor Yuanyu had bestowed. From the look of it, he had likely moved over every item for girls from his private treasury to the Qin Prince residence. Emperor Yuanyu smiled kindly at Song Shihwan. Ahwan has suffered grievances, so we specially opened our private treasury and chose some things for you. Do you like them? Seeing this, Song Shihwan instantly understood that Emperor Yuanyu was supporting her. Although he had not punished the Eastern Palace today, these rewards were telling everyone that Emperor Yuanyu stood on the Qin Prince residence's side. Her eyes curved with a smile. Thank you, Imperial Grandfather. I like all these very much. I also have a gift to give Imperial Grandfather in return. The people of the palace had spent so much effort trying to get rid of Song Shihwan, yet in the end, they once again returned empty-handed. They even made Emperor Yuanyu feel more pity for Song Shihwan. Most of the gold, silver, and jewels in the private treasury were bestowed on Song Shihwan as compensation. It was to support Song Shihwan and also to warn the Eastern Palace. Song Shihwan took the red cord off her wrist and smiled at Emperor Yuanyu. Grandfather, my mother taught me to braid this red cord. She said it could keep me safe. I have worn it since I was little. Now that Imperial Grandfather is protecting me, I will give this red cord to you in return. Imperial Grandfather, please do not disdain me. Apart from this red cord, I have nothing else I can give you. The red cord before him stirred Emperor Yuanyu's memories. His pity and affection for Song Shihwan grew even deeper. When I was young, our village also had such a custom. We would braid a red cord for a newborn child and tie it around the child's wrist so the child could grow up safely. The red cord I wore back then was lost on some battlefield long ago. Emperor Yuanyu was sinking into memories that were favorable to Song Yu. But Song Yu suddenly squeezed over. Huan, this red cord is only for Imperial Grandfather? Does Father not get one? Of course, Father does not absolutely need one, but Father has brought Huan plenty of gifts too. Shouldn't return gifts be shared equally? Song Shihwan sighed inwardly. My father really does seem rather lacking in tact. What else could she do? She had to smooth things over herself. She replied with a smile, then Huan will braid one for Father another day. Song Yu, who had been fighting for favor out of jealousy, immediately became delighted. He skillfully picked up his obedient daughter. Emperor Yuanyu looked at this scoundrel son who had made him worry so much. The boy's recent changes were truly good. It seemed what he had lacked was a precious daughter. Emperor Yuanyu smiled broadly and tied the red cord to the jade pendant he wore close to his body. Then I shall wear this red cord for Huan. From now on, I shall protect Huan's safety. Then he instructed the eunuch beside him, pass on my decree. Sell off all those wicked servants who deceived their superiors and hid things from them from the Qin Prince residence. Add several more guards. Also have Imperial Physician may come to take Huan's pulse every 3 days. I want to see a plump, healthy granddaughter. This was unprecedented Imperial favor. At last, the Qin Prince residence was finally clean. Song Shihwan inwardly shouted, "Long live Imperial Grandfather." Outwardly, she obediently thanked him. Then she ordered Baoxia to try that shoulder massaging technique on Imperial Grandfather. In the blink of an eye, Baoxia rushed forward and massaged Emperor Yuanyu's shoulders. Emperor Yuanyu's fatigue instantly vanished, and he felt that he could visit the Qin Prince residence more often in the future. That afternoon, Song Shihwan examined the 3 guard Song Yu had selected. The more she looked, the harder the corners of her mouth twitched. They were so ugly she hardly dared to look straight at them. Ingchun said that she had fought for better choices, but could not win against the prince. The prince had said they had to look like this in order to serve their mistress steadily. In truth, Song Yu had read too many illustrated storybooks and had overthought things. He feared that if he chose handsome guards, it would turn into the sort of plot from storybooks where a noble young lady was seduced by a handsome guard. In the end, the two would elope. Such a plot absolutely could not happen to Huan. So he eliminated all the handsome guards, and after searching for half a day, finally found these extraordinarily ugly ones to bring home. Song Shihwan, who had no idea what had happened, covered her eyes. Father's tastes really are unique. Forget it, forget it. You may withdraw for now, as long as Father likes them. The next day, Song Yu brought his playmate Shun Qingping to the prince residence, fulfilling his promise to find his daughter a tutor. Huan, I have found a tutor for you. Song Shihwan looked at the handsome man before her. There was a hint of unruliness in his brows and eyes. He did not look much like a scholar. After hearing the visitor introduce himself, Song Shihwan asked, "Tutor Shun, are you a top scholar?" Facing Song Shihwan's blunt question, Shun Qingping winked at Song Yu. No, before coming here, you never mentioned anything about a top scholar. Under both their gazes, Songyu laughed awkwardly. Huan, although he is not a top scholar, his father is. Shun Qingping guiltily cooperated. That is right. My father is Grand Tutor Shun. Then he exchanged looks with Songyu. My father is the top scholar, and you have the nerve to use that? If you could pass the examination and become top scholar yourself, would I need to do this? Song Shihuan saw through their relationship. After thinking for a moment, she understood what her father was planning. She said, then Tutor Shun must be very impressive. It just so happens I have accumulated many things I do not understand recently. I will have to trouble Tutor Shun to explain them to me. Shun Qingping froze as if struck, and his smile became extremely stiff. The little man inside his heart was already crying loudly. So many? The clever Song Shihuan looked at the tutor song you had found for her and guessed her father's intentions. This was exactly what she was willing to see. Pretending not to know, she cooperatively pointed to a place in the book and asked, Tutor Shun, what does this part mean? When Shun Qingping saw it, he was about to repeat the explanation he had heard from his father. But then he suddenly felt the frantic hints from his friend, the prince, and the pressure that grew heavier and heavier. Since he had accepted the man's silver, of course the boss's mood came first. So the words at his lips changed direction. This part, I'm not too clear on it either. As soon as he finished speaking, Songyu cheerfully pushed him aside. Juan, father knows this one. Father will explain it to you. Shun Qingping watched Songyu eagerly say everything he himself had wanted to explain and immediately understood. He does not want me to teach the county princess. Could this dog of a prince be using me to make himself look good? At this moment, Songyu had not yet realized his friend would betray him and was still joyfully awaiting Song Shihuan's praise. Song Shihuan also played along very well and praised him lavishly. Father is amazing. Then she pretended not to understand the dispute between her father and her tutor. She continued to advance her plan. While her father was feeling smug, she turned to Shun Qingping again. Tutor Shun, then what does this mean? Shun Qingping looked at the question and opened his mouth to explain, but was suddenly pushed aside by Songyu. I know this one too. Come, father will explain it to Huan. Shun Qingping was utterly speechless. Must he show off so much in front of his daughter? He will not let me say a single word. Does he really take me as my father's messenger? Songyu, meanwhile, enjoyed Song Shihuan's praise and admiration. As expected of father, your explanation is simple and easy to understand. Huan understood it at once. After this happened several times, the look Song Shihuan gave Shun Qingping became strange. Since father knows everything, one does not seem to need this tutor. When Shun Qingping heard this, he felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted. Wonderful. He could finally leave this suffocating place. He said, Your Highness, since the county princess does not need a tutor, I will take my leave. But Song Shihuan's next words made Shun Qingping want to break off relations with the prince. And no matter what Huan asked, Tutor Shun did not know. He does not seem like the son of a top scholar at all. Songyu could not help laughing aloud. Shun Qingping's towering resentment attacked Songyu. Fine, this rotten prince. I knew it. Why did he have me first explain my father's teachings to him? So he wanted to show off in front of the county princess. He got to show off, but in the county princess's heart, I have become a useless fool. Forget it. For the sake of the silver, I will endure. Seeing his friend leave dejectedly, Songyu became anxious. What a joke. If Shun Qingping did not come to the prince residence, who would relay old Shun's explanations to him? He hurriedly had someone stop him, then looked at Song Shihuan. Huan, you do not know this, but Tutor Shun is proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Is there anything else you want to learn? Song Shihuan had guided the conversation step by step for so long, and at last this topic had come up. She smiled and replied, Father, Huan wants to learn arithmetic. When Shun Qingping heard this, his chance to clear his name had come. He hurriedly said that he knew this. In the end, Songyu intercepted him again. No, because he himself did not know it. To keep Huan from realizing he could not do it, he had to do as he had done with history books. He would learn it first, then come explain it to Huan. So he coaxed Song Shihuan into trying the new hairpin he had bought her, while he and Tutor Shun still had matters to handle. We will study arithmetic another day. The clever Song Shihuan immediately saw why Songyu had interrupted. This was also what she wanted to see. She smiled and agreed. Seeing this, Song Yu quickly dragged away his extremely depressed friend. Shen Xingping gave Song Yu a malicious look. I will yield to your highness only this once. Next time, I will definitely make the county princess see me in a new light. The next day, while Ing Chun combed Song Shihwan's hair, she reported, the prince really did go to the Shun residence to study arithmetic. The county princess was right. A man who wants to accomplish great things cannot be unable to keep accounts. Song Shihwan smiled faintly. The deficit in the prince residence accounts is so large. Only by letting father calculate it himself will have more impact. Now that Song Shihwan's living conditions had improved and she had gained some flesh, her features were gradually blooming. Suddenly, the sound of a porcelain bowl shattering rang out in the room. The old nanny who had cared for Song Yu since childhood looked at Song Shihwan's appearance and was struck as if by lightning. County princess, may this old servant look at your face more carefully? Ever since Song Shihwan had acknowledged Song Yu as her father, she had been carefully nursed back to health. She had gained flesh, and her features had opened up. The nanny looked at Song Shihwan's appearance, unaware that the bowl in her hand had fallen to the floor. Song Shihwan was slightly puzzled. How could the steady nanny lose her composure like this? Nanny, has something happened? The nanny came back to her senses and smiled faintly. These past few days, this old servant kept feeling that the more I looked at the county princess, the more familiar you seemed, but I could not figure out where that familiar feeling came from. Now I finally know. It is because your brows and eyes are extremely similar to the prince's birth mother, the late Empress Yuan. Song Shihwan felt a jumble of emotions. In her previous life, no one had told her that she resembled Empress Yuan. Nanny, but I am not father's biological child. The nanny stepped forward to comfort the downcast Song Shihwan. The current empress is Empress Yuan's younger sister by the same mother. County princess, you and Empress Yuan are also blood relatives. Song Shihwan suddenly thought of something she had overlooked in her previous life. She hurriedly asked the nanny, how many people still remember what Empress Yuan looked like? The nanny wiped her tears and replied, Empress Yuan passed away when the prince was not yet 2 years old. I fear only His Majesty, Her Majesty the Empress, Imperial Physician May, and a few people close to her still remember Empress Yuan's appearance. Song Shihwan's heart trembled. No wonder Imperial Physician May had been coming to take her pulse more and more often these past few days, and had always intentionally or unintentionally stared at her. So that was why. She looked at her own brows and eyes in the bronze mirror. No wonder the people of the Eastern Palace had disfigured her in her previous life. She suddenly wanted to throw her head back and laugh. She did not resemble the crown prince, nor the crown princess consort. Instead, she looked very much like Emperor Yuanyo's unattainable beloved, Empress Yuan. And in this life, she had chosen father as her father. On the clan genealogy, she was Empress Yuan's legitimate granddaughter in name and truth. The Eastern Palace's greatest support was the current empress, who bore some resemblance to Empress Yuan. Yet no one in the Eastern Palace had inherited the current empress's appearance. Because father was Empress Yuan's son, even if he was stubborn and idle all day, he was still favored and tolerated. Then what about her, whose appearance resembled Empress Yuan even more than father's did? Song Shihwan's blood boiled. Current Empress, Crown Prince, Crown Princess Consort, Song Yinzheng, Song Xian. In this life, I, Song Shihwan, have gained the right timing, right place, and right people. From the very beginning, I have already beaten you by half a move. Imperial Physician May will definitely report this matter to Imperial Grandfather. She cannot act first. She had to see Imperial Grandfather's reaction first. She instructed the nanny, for now, let us pretend we know nothing of this. After being schemed against so many times, it was time to give the Eastern Palace a taste of its own medicine. Then, rare childish excitement in her, she took Ing Chun out of the residence to go shopping. She had not yet had a good look at what the capital was like. Ing Chun patted her purse. County princess, the prince said you may buy whatever you want today. Even if you take a liking to a shop, you may buy it. Song Shihwan was both moved and helpless. Has father still not finished calculating the accounts? Does he know how much silver those shops have underpaid? How much can still be left in our prince residence treasury for him to spend like this? Ing Chun replied awkwardly. The prince and young master Shen seemed to still be calculating with the accountant. Song Shihwan smiled helplessly. Forget it. Last time, Imperial Grandfather rewarded us with quite a lot of silver too. This county princess has plenty of money. Since it was rare to come out shopping, she stopped thinking too much and bought freely to her heart's content. Ingchun recommended going to a shop under their own prince residence, the Rouge Pavilion, saying the Rouge there was quite good. Song Shihwan looked at the crowded entrance. So many people come and go. It must earn a great deal of silver in one day. Since it is so profitable, it seems to be the most suitable first shop to settle accounts with. Her expression suddenly changed. She had actually seen Song Yinzheng and Song Xin walking toward the Rouge Pavilion. When the manager of the Rouge Pavilion saw the two of them, he went forward with a smile. "Young masters, please come in. Choose whatever you like." Song Yinjing acted as though the shop belonged to him. He instructed the manager, "Xian is in a bad mood today. Take another 200 taels of silver from the shop for her." Song Shihwan saw the manager nod and agree without the slightest hesitation. She had originally thought the shops had serious losses because the servants were embezzling money. She had not expected that it was actually the Eastern Palace occupying the Qin Prince residence's businesses. She turned around and took Ingchun back to the residence. It was time to remind father to collect debts. At this moment, inside the Prince residence, Song Yu looked at the account books after calculation and flew into a rage. This calculation must be wrong. Do you even know how to keep accounts? The accountant braced himself and replied, "Your Highness, this truly is the result." Song Yu refused to believe it. Impossible. My dignified Qin Prince residence. How could it have only this little silver? Prince Qin Song Yu had always thought that even if he was not as rich as a nation, he was at least rich enough to rival half a nation. But now, after calculating the account books, he realized that the usable spare money could be counted on one hand. Unwilling to give up, he calculated it again. The result remained the same. He suppressed his anger. With a fluke mentality, he had Shun Qingping calculate it once too. This fellow was extremely sharp when it came to money and property. If he confirmed it again, there would definitely be no mistake. In the silence of waiting, Shun Qingping finally finished calculating. The result was the same as his. All his hopes were gone. Song Yu's eyes seemed capable of spitting fire. Damn dog servants. They actually swallowed so much of my silver. Let's go collect debts. They made me lose so much face in front of Huan. If I do not beat these people up and haul them away, I will not be satisfied. Shun Qingping, however, did not follow. Instead, he took several steps back. No, collecting debts is the sort of job that offends people and earns no gratitude. I am not doing it. Song Shihwan came in. As soon as she entered, she saw her father and tutor Shin chasing and dodging each other. She was slightly startled. "Father, what is going on?" Song Yu thought about how he had told Huan that the prince residence had countless earnings, only for them to have all been embezzled by others, and felt embarrassed. Shun Qingping hurriedly rescued him. The prince discovered that the shops under his name falsely reported their accounts and swallowed much of the prince residence's silver. He is preparing to collect debts. Song Yu glared fiercely at Shun Qingping, meaning, "Who asked you to talk so much?" Seeing this, Song Shiwen understood. It seemed father had finally calculated the prince residence's accounts clearly. "My family has a father who is finally grown up." Then she guided him aloud. "Father, when collecting debts, one must have a method. How do you plan to collect them?" Song Yu raised his arm and flexed his muscles. "How else? Of course I will personally go to their door. If they do not pay one punch." Song Shihwan froze. Was father not brimming with literary talent? Why does he only know how to use brute force? Seeing this, Song Yu hurriedly tried to salvage his image. "Well, we are scholars. We should use wisdom. Tutor Shun, do you have any good ideas?" Shun Qingping still refused. "Your Highness, I will not do this kind of thing." Song Yu had no choice but to unleash his killing move. "I will give you 10% of the earnings collected." Hearing this, Shun Qingping did not hesitate at all. "I will do it. Debt collection is exactly what I do." What offending people. His good brother had offered too much, so all that was tossed beyond the clouds. Then he began to offer advice. "Let's go to the Rouge Pavilion first. First, because it is the largest shop in the residence and has the highest monthly revenue. We will definitely be able to collect a large sum of money. Second, this shop has the most customers. With so many people and loose tongues, it is perfect for spreading the news that we are collecting debts. It will serve as a warning to others." Song Yu glanced at Shun Qingping. "Why did I never realize before that your brain works so well?" Shun Qingping chuckled. "When the money is sufficient, everything is easy to discuss. County Princess, what do you think?" Song Shihwan smiled. This Shun Qingping was worthy of being the top scholar's son. He was indeed clever. I think it is excellent. Then she looked at Song Yu. Father, the Rouge Pavilion does indeed have many customers. Just now I saw people from the Eastern Palace go there as well. But it was so strange. When they went to the Rouge Pavilion to buy things, they did not seem to need to pay. The moment Song Yu heard this, he could not wait another instant. With his daughter in his left hand and his brother in his right, he rushed straight to the Rouge Pavilion. Damn Eastern Palace. That is all my Qin Prince residence's silver. At this time, inside the Rouge Pavilion, Song Yinjing was still coaxing his younger sister Xiyin. It was not easy to bring you out of the palace today. Be happy, all right? Song Xiyin replied gloomily. Eldest brother, I truly am not in the mood. Last time at the Qin Prince residence, not only did I fail to see Song Shihuan embarrass herself in public, Imperial Grandfather also suddenly punished me by making me copy lessons for women. Whenever I think of this, my heart feels awful. Who knows how Song Shihuan is laughing at me behind my back? Song Yinjing smiled and comforted her. If it did not work once, there will be another time. We have plenty of chances. After a while, Imperial Grandmother will suggest letting that wild girl enter the Women's Academy. Your learning and talents will certainly surpass hers. Song Xiyin was somewhat worried. Did Prince Qin not hire a tutor to teach Song Shihuan? Song Yinzheng snorted disdainfully. Tutor? You mean that useless fool Shen Qingping? What can idle dandy like him teach? Probably taking Song Shihuan to listen to songs and tease crickets every day. Hearing this, Song Xian's confidence swelled. They actually hired Shen Qingping as a tutor. Eldest brother is right. When the time comes, I will definitely be able to trample Song Shihuan deep into the mud. The Eastern Palace had long been privately swallowing the Qin Prince residence's shops. Song Shihuan guided Song Yu into catching him on the spot. Song Yinzheng wanted to pay this time and take Song Xian away, but Song Yu stopped him. In front of nobles from all over the capital, he had Shen Qingping take out the account books. I want to examine how much the Rouge Pavilion has earned all these years. Song Shihuan silently added fuel to the fire. Father had better invite the Jingzhou governor to investigate the case. Otherwise, people will say you are bullying the Eastern Palace again. Public opinion is frightening. Don't you agree, Brother Yinzheng? Listening to Song Shihuan's sarcastic words, Song Yinzheng and Song Xian were so angry their lungs nearly exploded. Song Yinzheng was even more anxious. If the Jingzhou governor came to investigate, the Eastern Palace's seizure of the shops would be made public. At that time, the Eastern Palace's reputation would be ruined. He immediately pressured Song Shihuan. Shihuan, so many people are watching. If this matter grows too big, it will be bad for everyone. Song Shihuan pretended to be foolish. Brother Yinzheng, what do you mean? If the matter grows big, the Qin Prince residence can recover its debts. How is that bad? The onlookers in the shop also began discussing. The Eastern Palace's attitude is so strange. They seem very guilty. Could that manager have something to do with the Eastern Palace? Song Yinzheng was so angry his vision darkened. The situation was becoming increasingly unfavorable to the Eastern Palace. Helpless, he could only directly order people to be driven away. All right, disperse. What are you looking at? If you recklessly discuss the imperial family, you may be punished. Shen Qingping stood in front of the commoners. Hey, imperial grandson, what are you doing? The prince checking accounts is also an explanation to the people. The Rouge Pavilion pays quite a lot of taxes every year from its revenue. The people should know whose hands their money has gone into. Everyone, am I right? When the onlookers heard this, they echoed, yes. We should also know whether the Rouge Pavilion has paid its taxes every year. We usually buy plenty of things from the Rouge Pavilion. The sinister and cunning Song Yinzheng could do nothing at this moment. He could only inwardly curse these unruly commoners for daring to meddle in imperial family affairs. Then he saw his younger sister Song Xian suddenly step out from behind him. She marched furiously towards Song Shihuan, her expression fierce. This county princess advises you not to cause trouble. Otherwise, in the future, I will make you unable to live and unable to die. She had not considered at all how much Emperor Yuanyu would loathe hearing such words spoken in public. Song Shihuan, however, saw everything clearly. At last, this person had exposed her true nature. Add another spark, and it would be hard for Song Xian to recover. So she pretended to be frightened. Younger sister, when you say that, I am so scared. When Song Yu saw Song Shihuan tearfully aggrieved, his heart ached terribly. He angrily scolded Song Xian, who was acting fierce. Song Xian, you dare bully your own sister in front of me. It seems last time's punishment of copying lessons for women was not enough. Song Xian had not expected that the matter she had racked her brains to hide would be stated so bluntly by Song Yu. for so many people to hear. Hearing the onlookers whispering, she was so angry her teeth trembled. The look she gave Song Shihwan was filled with poison. Damn it, it was all her fault for ruining my good fortune and my excellent reputation as a county princess. Without any respect for seniority, she pointed at Song Yu and shouted, "You did this on purpose today." Seeing his sister completely lose control, Song Yinjing hurriedly spoke to stop her. The more of her bad nature was exposed, the harder it would be to salvage. "Xian, enough." Then he looked at Song Yu with a forced smile. "All right, eldest uncle, the Eastern Palace will give you and the people an explanation for this matter. I will have someone recheck the account books at once. The manager will definitely return every bit of silver he has concealed over these years." Song Yu nodded almost imperceptibly. That was more like it. Song Yinjung pulled Song Shiyin and turned to leave. Song Shihwan deliberately spoke with innocent curiosity. "Father, Huan wants to ask something. Does the Qin Prince residence have only this one shop under its name?" Song Yinjung, who had not yet gone far, felt his heart sink. This was bad. Song Yu said, "Our residence has more than this one. I will make a list for Huan to see when we return." Hearing this, Song Shihwan clapped her hands. "Our prince residence has so many shops." Having regained his dignity in front of his daughter, Song Yu began showing off again. Of course, Song Shihwan looked meaningfully at Song Yinjing's back. "Then, brother Yinjung, you must check the accounts carefully. The silver from so many shops is no small sum. If even one coin is missing, father and I will invite the Jingzhou governor to investigate properly." Hearing this, Song Yinjung and his sister quickened their steps as they left. Seeing this, Song Yu and Song Shihwan happily clapped hands in victory. After returning to the prince residence, Shun Qingping found Song Yu. "Your Highness, I want to take the county princess as my student. What do you think?" Song Yu was somewhat bewildered. "What nonsense are you saying? You are already Huan's tutor." Shun Qingping said, "What I mean is, in the future, I want to directly teach the county princess the things for my old man. I want to be the county princess's true teacher." Shun Qingping reviewed the process of debt collection at the Rouge Pavilion and realized that, on the surface, it seemed the prince was teaching the Eastern Palace a lesson. In reality, the county princess controlled the whole situation. The county princess was only 10 years old now. In the future, she would surely be limitless. Following a little genius like the county princess was definitely right. So now he told his good friend Song Yu that he wanted to become Song Shihwan's real tutor and no longer merely serve as a messenger between his father and the prince. Song Yu was both shocked and furious. He glared at Shun Qingping like a mantis. "You brat, you want to compete with me for Huan?" Shun Qingping nodded and admitted it. "During lessons, I already let you steal the limelight. I also want the county princess to acknowledge me as her tutor." The little boat of friendship between the two overturned just like that. Song Yu shouted coldly, "Dream on. I will find someone else to teach me privately. From now on, whoever can teach Huan will depend on ability." After driving Shun Qingping away, the sense of crisis in his heart did not lessen, but grew stronger. It seemed that, aside from studying, he had to learn something else too. Otherwise, would he not be outshone? That night, candles burned in both the Shun family study and the Qin Prince residence study. The two stubborn brothers who had sworn they would not touch books began striving hard, determined to trample the other underfoot. Early the next morning, Song Yu personally ran out to buy the most honest, substantial pastries in the capital for Song Shihwan to eat. This dense, fatherly love made Song Shihwan's brows and eyes relax. What made her happiest was that her own father was, bit by bit, shedding his title as a stubborn dandy prince for her sake. Seeing that her father was especially happy today, she smiled and asked, "Is today some good day?" Song Yu grinned. "Today is the day the Chong family comes to repay money. Once the Chong family returns all the profits from every shop over these many years, I will once again be the richest prince in the capital. Huan may spend as she likes." As soon as he finished speaking, a maid came to report that Madame Chong had arrived. Madame Chong had several chests of gold carried in, and said that all the earnings from these years were there. Seeing this, Song Yu frowned. "This is not right, Madame Chong. Did the Eastern Palace not say that it would return all the profits from all the Qin Prince residences' shops?" Madame Chong said that she only knew they had to return the profits from the Rouge Pavilion. In fact, the Eastern Palace had spoken very clearly. All the shops. But that silver had long since been spent by the Eastern Palace on maintaining relationships. Where could she conjure up so much gold and silver? Seeing this, Song Shihwan silently pushed her father forward. Is there too little silver? Should we report it to the authorities and ask the Jingzhou governor's people to help calculate? With this reminder, Song Yu also smiled. Huan is truly clever. Since Madame Chang wants to repudiate the debt and a private settlement cannot be reached, then let us make it official. Madame Chang froze. In her impression, Prince Qin had always been easy to fool. Why was he so fussy this time? But this absolutely could not be allowed. If the Jingzhou governor came to investigate, she hurriedly smiled apologetically and stopped Song Yu. Your Highness, perhaps the servants delivered the message incorrectly. Please rest assured, the silver will definitely not be short. This official's wife will go back and investigate at once. In her heart, she pondered that Prince Qin was no longer easy to dismiss. The Chang family could not pay such a large sum. Since the Eastern Palace had also spent this money, the most urgent matter was to go to the Eastern Palace and ask for some silver. Song Shihwan looked at Madame Chang's departing back and sneered inwardly. As expected, the Eastern Palace and the Chang family did not want to honestly repay the money. It seemed she had to think of a way to use Imperial Grandfather to pressure them. Song Yu had not expected that the profits from a mere Rouge Pavilion would already be so much. It seemed these shops should indeed be kept in his own hands and managed properly. Seeing her father gain this awareness, Song Shihwan smiled knowingly. Father, I heard there have recently been floods in the south, and many refugees have come to the capital to beg. Huan remembers when I wandered outside back then, drifting about just like them and unable to eat my fill. There are many children like Huan. Huan wants to help them. So Huan wants to use this silver for disaster relief. Does father think that is all right? When Song Yu heard this, his heart clenched painfully several times. Huan, you suffered. Song Shihwan smiled and shook her head. It is all right, father. Now Huan is father and is surely blessed. Song Yu nodded and agreed. Of course there is no problem. Our Huan is so kind. I am very moved as well. Father will enter the palace right now. Song Shihwan watched Song Yu leave and thought in surprise, my good father, just wait to receive an earth-shattering surprise. Song Shihwan planned to use the large amount of revenue recovered from the Eastern Palace for disaster relief. First, because she sincerely wanted to help the disaster victims. Second, because she wanted to gain a good impression before Emperor Yuanyu, so that, under Emperor Yuanyu's protection, they could smoothly recover the profits from the other shops. As the one handling it, Song Yu rushed to Zichen Hall in a blaze of energy. Father, your son has something important to report. When he saw that Crown Prince Song Lin was also in the hall, his smiling face immediately collapsed. Why is he here too? Forget it. Ignore Song Lin. Huan's matter was more important. So Song Yu praised Song Shihwan as if she were a child attendant before the seat of the Bodhisattva Guanyin in the ninth heaven. Father, Huan heard about the recent disaster and said without hesitation that she wanted to donate all the Rouge Pavilion's profits to the disaster victims. You do not know this, but Huan suffered greatly while wandering outside. When she thinks of what these victims are going through, she feels terribly upset and urged your son to quickly donate money for disaster relief. Hearing this, Emperor Yuanyu was deeply moved as well. As expected of my granddaughter, there are countless wealthy people under heaven, but none compare to Huan's breadth of mind. Song Yu laughed and urged him, Father, hurry and send people to my residence to move the gold. Emperor Yuanyu was extremely gratified. You have truly solved my urgent difficulty. Seeing that the atmosphere between them was too harmonious, Crown Prince Song Lin spoke to make trouble. Eldest brother also has moments of such generosity? How rare. Song Yu no longer had such a violent temper. He calmly and forcefully replied, Second brother does not know this, but if children like Huan can eat a full meal, then even if I had to donate half my family property, I would not hesitate in the slightest. Song Yu's words made Crown Prince Song Lin pause for a moment. Then he dug a pit. Who cannot speak grand words? Why not have eldest brother cover all the silver lacking for this disaster relief? Song Yu answered without hesitation, Fine. Then please have the Eastern Palace repay the silver it owes me today. That will also save me from going to the authorities for investigation. Crown Prince Song Lin instantly stiffened. He had wanted to make things difficult for the other party. In the end, he had made things difficult for himself. Emperor Yuanyu was also drawn in by their conversation. What is going on? How does the Eastern Palace owe the Qin Prince residence silver? Crown Prince Song Lin hurriedly argued. Father, please investigate clearly. It was the Chang family that forcibly occupied the Qin Prince residence's shops. Your son was thinking only of disaster relief and, in urgency, accepted the Chang family's silver. Song Yu would not let him off so easily. He said sarcastically, "No wonder Madame Chong repaid me the profits from the Rouge Pavilion today. So it was in order to donate more silver for disaster relief." How sharp was Emperor Yuanyu? From a few words, he pieced together the truth. He loudly scolded the Crown Prince. "Nonsense. You were clearly trying to use the Qin Prince residence's silver to gain a good reputation for the Eastern Palace." Seeing this, Crown Prince Song Lin no longer dared to fool him and hurriedly expressed his stance. "Father, please calm your anger. Your son and the Chong family will certainly return in full all the silver owed to eldest brother." Seeing this, Song Yu immediately made his own statement too. "Father, your son is willing to donate in full what the Eastern Palace and the Chong family owe the Qin Prince residence, to use it to aid the disaster victims." When Huan wandered outside, she must have wished there was someone who could help her like this. For the first time, Emperor Yuanyu examined Song Yu with the gaze used to measure up a prince. He was surprised to discover that among his sons, only his eldest son, Song Yu, actually had a generous heart that cared for the world. For a ruler, the most important thing was being able to keep the people in his heart. Certain thoughts were already beginning to stir. He immediately ordered, "Pass on my decree. Anyone who has occupied the Qin Prince residence's shops must return the shops and all profits within 3 days. The Eastern Palace and the Chong family will set the example first." Since the emperor had issued an imperial decree, even if they wanted to repudiate the debt, they no longer dared. The crown prince received the decree in great distress and went to carry it out. Song Yu looked at the crown prince leaving in a hurry and realized that using father's affairs to recover the shops seemed to be what the books called borrowing strength to strike strength and following the momentum. Huan was right. Reading more books was indeed useful. Emperor Yuanyo's gentle voice pulled him back from his thoughts. "I will assign some people to you to manage the shops. Use them for now." Song Yu thanked him, feeling somewhat puzzled. Why had father suddenly become so gentle when speaking to him? Then he heard Emperor Yuanyu continue. "Huan is a good seedling for study. I am thinking of sending Huan to the Women's Academy. What do you think?" When Song Yu heard this, he thought it was truly wonderful. That was an excellent school. Huan loved learning so much. She would definitely be very happy to hear this news. Before Emperor Yuanyu could finish speaking, he happily thanked him and slipped away. "Many thanks, father. Your son will go tell Huan this good news right now." Meanwhile, in the Eastern Palace, the Crown Princess consort learned of the imperial decree requiring them to repay all debts within 3 days. She was both anxious and furious. Where would our Eastern Palace get so much silver? The Chong family occupied so many shops. You actually spent all the silver collected. Crown Prince Song Lin was already holding in anger. Hearing this, he unceremoniously slapped the Crown Princess consort. He said righteously, "It is perfectly natural for me to use the Chong family silver. Back then, your Chong family said, you would use all your strength to help me ascend the throne. Or is it that your Chong family no longer wants the position of Crown Princess consort?" With Emperor Yuanyo's imperial decree there, the Eastern Palace did not dare continue delaying repayment of the profits. But those profits had long since been used by the Crown Prince and his son to consolidate their power. To repay the money, they set their sights on the Crown Princess consort's dowry. After returning to the Eastern Palace, they placed all the pressure on the Crown Princess consort. "It is perfectly natural for me to use the Chong family's silver. Back then, your Chong family said you would use all your strength to help me ascend the throne. Or is it that your Chong family no longer wants the position of Crown Princess consort?" Hearing this, the Crown Princess consort's breathing suddenly stopped. She directly ignored the slap on her face. "Your Highness, please calm your anger. This consort absolutely does not mean that. It is only that the amount of silver to repay is too large, and there truly is no money left in the Eastern Palace accounts." "Your Highness," the Crown Prince finally revealed his true aim. "That is easy. Take some silver from your dowry to cover it first." Hearing this, the Crown Princess consort's heart trembled. Again, whenever the Eastern Palace had no money, they coveted her dowry. It she could not refuse. She answered softly, "All right." Only then did Song Yinzheng come over and help the dazed Crown Princess consort up. He began coaxing her with sweet words. "Mother consort, the sacrifices you have made for the Eastern Palace, Father and I will definitely remember." Under Song Yinzheng's words, the Crown Princess consort felt slightly better. "In the future, if the Eastern Palace and the Chong family have any matters, you should also let Mother Consort know in advance." Seeing that her eyes had reddened and softened, Song Yinzheng sighed in relief. "This time we were wrong. Seeing the matter settled, the crown prince also apologized pretentiously. Just now, my tone was poor, Li Xian. The Eastern Palace will rely entirely on you this time. You must gather enough silver. Yanzheng and I still have matters to handle, so we will leave first. The crown princess consort watched the father and son leave and suddenly felt chilled all over. The father and son were of one mind. Back then, it had been the same. Without discussing it with her, with just one sentence, they sent away the newborn Song Shihuan. She heard that this matter had become so big because of Song Shihuan. That child wholeheartedly helped Prince Qin. Yet the Eastern Palace hid everything from her, the crown princess consort. She wondered whether, that day at the palace banquet, she should have acknowledged Song Shihuan. But she did not know that even if she had been willing to acknowledge her then, the reborn Song Shihuan would not have been willing to step into that fire pit again. At this moment, Song Shihuan, who was at the Qin prince residence, heard the news her father had brought back. Just as Song Yu had imagined, she was extremely happy. Imperial grandfather wants me to go to the women's academy? Really? Song Yu smiled and nodded. Of course it is true. Your imperial grandfather even praised you as a good seedling for study. Song Shihuan had not expected that after her father entered the palace, aside from successfully recovering all the shops, there would also be this unexpected joy. She happily circled Song Yu. Father, what courses does the Women's Academy have? The schools I used to secretly listen to had Class A, Class B, and Class C. Does the Women's Academy divide classes too? Does the Women's Academy have any rules? Should Huan study them first? Speaking to this point, she suddenly remembered, after she entered the academy, what would happen to father's studies. This father-raising plan was making good progress. It cannot be delayed, so she deliberately asked cautiously, Father, Huan has not read many books. When I go to the Women's Academy, will the teachers dislike me? Song Yu immediately said, Huan is my daughter. Who would dare dislike you? Song Shihuan hurriedly followed up. Then can father and tutor Shun help Huan make up lessons? I did not want to go to the Women's Academy and make father lose face. Song Yu, this daughter slave, was about to nod by instinct. But he suddenly remembered that Shun Qingping wanted to compete with him for his daughter. This matter of make-up lessons could not let Shun Qingping have peace. He made a decisive decision and said, Huan, there is no need to trouble tutor Shun. I will teach you. He picked up a book and was about to begin explaining. But just then the door was kicked open. Shun Qingping walked in holding a pile of books. Huan, tutor Shun has come to teach you. Song Yu immediately turned and held Shun Qingping down, putting the Qin Prince Residence's unwelcome attitude plainly on his face. What are you doing here? Huan has me to teach her. That is enough. Hurry back. Shun Qingping refused. Did we not agree that it would depend on ability? I even brought my father's private collection from his study. Song Shihuan watched the two argue their points and smiled knowingly. So tutor Shun coming to teach gives father such a strong sense of crisis. Then father, you and tutor Shun should keep competing in your studies. She deliberately sighed with a dim expression. Song Yu and Shun Qingping immediately stopped arguing and looked at her. Now I have not yet thoroughly read the 4 books and 5 classics. I have never touched music, chess, calligraphy, or painting either. When I go to the Women's Academy, I will probably be the lowest ranking student. Shun Qingping blurted out, How could that be? The county princess has an astonishing memory and learns extremely quickly. You absolutely cannot enter the lowest class. Song Yu also echoed him. Exactly. The two looked at each other and instantly turned hostility into peace. For now, Huan entering school was the important matter. For the child, they would go all out. Song Yu said, there is still more than half a month before enrollment. During this period, tutor Shun and I will stay by your side. Whatever you do not understand, just ask us. Shun Qingping smiled and followed up, Yes, County Princess. The prince knows calligraphy, and I know the zither. We definitely will not let the County Princess enter the very lowest class. Song Shihuan achieved her goal and raised a cheerful, smiling face. All right, as long as father and tutor Shun are willing to teach me, I will definitely study hard. Song Yu and Shun Qingping both wanted Song Shihuan to spend more time learning from them, and both wanted to become the most important tutor in the child's heart. One held a book, and the other held a zither. The two closed in on Song Shihuan. Should we practice calligraphy first, or the zither first? Song Shihuan's little face wrinkled up. She had wanted father and tutor Shun to compete in their studies. How had it become the two of them competing by making her study? Song Yu compromised. He allowed Shun Qingping to teach Song Shihuan with him. But although they had agreed on 2 hours of zither practice, Shun Qingping went overtime and pretended not to know. Driven by his desire to win, Song Yu could only interrupt aloud. Huan, it is time to practice calligraphy. Come, father will teach you calligraphy. Turning to Shun Qingping, his face changed again. Move aside. Do not delay my lesson. Shun Qingping watched Song Shihuan leave reluctantly. Heavens knew how rare it was to have a student who could glance at a music score and remember it. She was simply born to practice the zither. He left resentfully, determined that tomorrow he would extend the county princess's zither practice time by another half hour. Song Shihuan had studied calligraphy with Song Yu for less than half an hour when she was interrupted by Uncle Zhang, the prince residence's coachman. Your Highness, the carriage has been prepared according to your instructions. This Uncle Zhang had been in the residence for more than 10 years and had once protected Song Yu. So Song Yu was also very polite to him. Thank you for your trouble, Uncle Zhang. Seeing his daughter look puzzled, he hurriedly explained, Huan, going to the women's academy is such a big good thing. As father, of course I must prepare some congratulatory gifts for Huan. Come, Huan, let's go look at the carriage together. Song Shihuan looked at Song Yu's doting smile. Seeing his outstretched hand, her heart warmed. Across 2 lifetimes, this was the first time someone had prepared a congratulatory gift for her. She had truly chosen the right father to let Song Shihuan sit comfortably and with dignity. Song Yu had made the carriage extremely luxurious and eye-catching. How is it, Huan? Are you satisfied? Although Song Shihuan felt it was overly splendid, it was all father's affection. Fatherly love was effective. Satisfied. As long as it is a gift from father, Huan is satisfied. Just then, Uncle Zhang came over holding a sachet. This old servant has also prepared a modest gift. Congratulations to the county princess on being able to enter the women's academy. Song Shihuan was slightly surprised. She politely took it and thanked Uncle Zhang. Song Yu, however, looked disapprovingly at Uncle Zhang. What are you doing? That sachet looks quite fine. It must have cost a good amount of silver. Your daughter is not even in the residence anymore. You should keep more money on hand for yourself. Uncle Zhang smiled kindly and replied, The monthly allowance your highness gives me is more than this old servant can spend. This old servant only wanted to do something to make the little county princess happy. As long as the little county princess is happy, your highness will be happy too. Song Shihuan had been in the Qin Prince residence for so long, yet this was the first time she had heard of Uncle Zhang. Moreover, from the looks of it, father's attitude toward Uncle Zhang was not like his attitude toward ordinary servants. While she was feeling puzzled, Shun Qingping walked over. County Princess, do you think it is somewhat improper for Uncle Zhang, as a servant, to give a gift to his master? Song Shihuan shook her head. No, Huan has simply never met Uncle Zhang before, so I was a little curious. Shun Qingping then explained it to her. There is something you do not know, County Princess. Uncle Zhang can be considered His Highness's lifesaver. When His Highness was young and obsessed with strange skills, his horse suddenly went mad for some unknown reason. At that time, it was Uncle Zhang who shielded him with his own body. Uncle Zhang injured his leg because of that and was left with a lifelong disability. His Highness then kept Uncle Zhang in the residence and let him do simple work such as looking after the horses. Hearing this, Song Shihuan smiled and said, So that is how it was. Father truly is a first-rate good man. It seems one must keep this sachet properly. I cannot let down Uncle Zhang's kind intentions. But none of them noticed. When Song Shihuan waved the sachet, the horse that had originally been quiet suddenly had its eyes turn crimson and went mad. It raised its hooves and charged straight towards Song Shihuan. Caught completely off guard, Song Shihuan was frightened, tripped, and fell sitting onto the ground, watching helplessly as those hooves were about to step down on her. She had just been looking at the gift in delight, yet that horse suddenly went mad and fixed its attention on the youngest person there, Song Shihuan. Seeing that the horse's hooves were about to trample Song Shihuan, Song Yu's eyes nearly split with fury. He burst forward with strength and threw himself over, barely managing to save Song Shihuan. Huan, are you hurt anywhere? Song Shihuan looked at Song Yu, who had disregarded danger and risked his life to save her, and felt countless emotions. In her previous life, she had risked everything to serve the Eastern Palace, yet in the end, she had been treated as worth less than grass. But this time, after choosing Song Yu as her father, he truly treated her like his own beloved daughter. She grinned. I am fine. Father, do not worry. Only after hearing this did Song Yu's suspended heart finally settle back down. It is good that you are fine. Only then did he look toward the horse at the side, which had already quieted down. This horse, It was perfectly fine. Why did it suddenly go mad? Shun Qingping also stared at the horse and thought. This horse went mad, but after attacking the county princess once, it made no further move. Its behavior seems rather strange. Song Yu then turned his head and called to Uncle Zhang, who was not far away. Come quickly and see what is going on with this horse. But Uncle Zhang stood where he was without moving, staring straight at Song Yu. Then he took out the poison he had prepared long ago from his robes, tilted his head back, and drank it all. Song Yu's mind instantly went blank. Uncle Zhang, what are you doing? Uncle Zhang coughed up a mouthful of blood. Clearly, he did not have much time left. Song Shihuan was the calmest and reacted the fastest. She hurriedly had the maids go find Bao Xia and the residence physician. By this time, Song Yu had already reacted. Uncle Zhang, so this horse suddenly going mad was your doing? Uncle Zhang did not argue. Instead, he admitted it directly. This old servant did it. The last trace of hope in Song Yu's heart vanished. He roared, I regarded you as my lifesaver. For so many years, I've always treated you generously. Why did you want to harm Huan? Why repay kindness with enmity? Uncle Zhang gave a cold laugh. Your Highness, you have no great ambitions and no learning or skills. Naturally, this old servant could not acknowledge you as my master. Your Highness spends every day doing nothing but drinking and seeking pleasure. Your reputation as a wastrel is known throughout the world. One day, when the crown prince ascends the throne, you will not be able to protect the prince residence, much less the county princess. The more outstanding the county princess becomes, the less you will be able to protect her. Song Yu clenched both fists tightly. Uncle Zhang's words were like cold ice, chiseling into his bones and making him feel chilled to the marrow. In your eyes, am I truly so useless? Uncle Zhang laughed. Among the 4 princes, only your Highness holds no official post in court and has no faction behind you. Your Highness, you truly have lived in vain for more than 20 years. Yet Song Yu did not become angry as he had before. He asked the question he cared about most. So the life-saving grace back then was also a lie to deceive me? Uncle Zhang looked at Song Yu one last time and nodded. Song Yu replied in a desolate voice, Is that so? I understand. Then he turned and left. Uncle Zhang thought of Song Yu as a child, holding his hand and arranging for him to live in the Qin Prince residence. Every word had been filled with respect and closeness toward him, warming the heart of a covert agent like him. Before he died, he wanted to touch Prince Qin once more, but he no longer had the right. He was a chess piece placed in the Qin Prince residence by the succeeding empress. But for all these years, he had never done a single thing to betray the Qin Prince residence. Now, all the various chess pieces in the Qin Prince residence had been eliminated, leaving only him. He could no longer make excuses to the succeeding empress. With no other choice, he could only choose the least harmful method, expose himself, and use his life to awaken Prince Song. I hope your Highness can forgive this old servant, a sinner, in the future. At that point, Uncle Zhang breathed his last. Song Yu had regarded Uncle Zhang as his lifesaver and had respected him greatly. It was not until Song Shihuan nearly met with disaster today that he learned this had merely been an informant planted by someone else, someone who could betray him at any time. And the words Uncle Zhang spoke before dying sank deep into Song Yu's heart. With unusual calm, he left the residence to drink. Song Shihuan worriedly wanted to chase after him, but Shun Qingping stopped her. County Princess, let His Highness stay alone for a while. First, take a look at this. He placed the sachet Uncle Zhang had given her into Song Shihuan's hand. Just now, the horse went mad, but after it crushed the sachet, it made no further move. When Uncle Zhang entered the residence, His Highness did not investigate his identity. County Princess, you might as well look into who instructed Uncle Zhang. That may also help undo the knot in His Highness's heart. After saying this, he went after Song Yu himself. Song Shihuan thought carefully and discovered that something was wrong. Uncle Zhang had clearly been instructed by someone to harm her. But why, after the horse trampled the sachet to pieces, did it stop moving? She walked toward the dying Uncle Zhang, a guess forming in her heart. Uncle Zhang, after the horse crushed the sachet today, it stopped moving. You arranged that beforehand, did you not? Your true purpose was not really to hurt me, but to use this chance to awaken Father. These final words were not spoken amid Uncle Zhang's violent coughing. Uncle Zhang hid his truest emotions and deliberately said coldly, I am merely a covert agent of the Eastern Palace. My mission failed, so I should kill myself to atone for my crime. After saying that, he breathed his last. Song Shihuan's heart trembled slightly. She closed her eyes and ordered Bao Xia to investigate Uncle Zhang's quarters. Meanwhile, in a private room, Song Yu had the waiter bring over 2 large jars of wine, determined not to leave until he was drunk. Song Yu hugged a wine jar and poured it into his mouth. Shun Qingping spoke up to stop him. "Your Highness, you cannot drink like this. Something will happen if you drink like this." Song Yu put down the wine jar, his tone low. "Tell me, am I especially useless? My reputation as a stubborn wastrel is known throughout the world, so I simply cannot protect Huan." Shun Qingping looked at Prince Qin, who normally held his nose high in the air. Today, every word out of his mouth was belittling himself. Could he have been provoked by Uncle Zhang's words? He raised his hand and patted Song Yu's shoulder. "Your Highness, you are drunk." Song Yu grabbed Shun Qingping's hand and asked with an extremely serious expression, "Tell me honestly, am I doomed to come to a bad end?" Shun Qingping's entire body stiffened. He was a wastrel with great wisdom. Shun Qingping wanted to say no, but the words simply would not come out. Song Yu murmured again. "One day, when Song Lin takes the throne, he will be able to get rid of me and Huan with ease, will he not?" Shun Qingping sighed softly. "Your Highness, tonight you seem somewhat different from before." Song Yu replied, "Before, I only cared about enjoying the present. As for whether I lived or died tomorrow, I did not care. But now I have Huan. I absolutely cannot let Huan end up like me, unable to come to a good end." Shun Qingping, I know you are clever. Tell me, should I enter court as an official, or should I study diligently? What should I do in order to ensure that Huan and the prince residence come to a good end? Hearing this, Shun Qingping understood. His Highness was about to begin fighting back. He swallowed with difficulty. "Is your Highness intending to appoint me as your strategist?" Song Yu found this term quite novel and laughed. "Yes, a strategist. I, Song Yu, wish to appoint Shun Qingping, son of Grand Tutor Shun, as my strategist."